Latest when you need it, on demand from Fox News and Amazon Alexa. Now, a look at what's happening from the Fox News Rundown.
Good morning. It's Tuesday, February 20th. This is the Fox News Rundown. I'm Sue Guzman. President Biden heads to California today for campaign events amid calls for him to step aside.
It's the second time this month President Biden will try to rake in some campaign cash in the Golden State. The president is heading to San Francisco, and while California remains a reliably blue state, there are a number of House races key for Democrats taking back the chamber this November. The trip comes as the commander-in-chief continues to take questions about his age and mental acuity to handle a second term. A number of top Democrats, including Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, have fiercely defended the president, saying his mental acuity is, quote, as good as it's been over the years. In Washington, Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
Michigan Democratic Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib urging voters not to re-elect President Biden. Fox's Mark Meredith with more.
The Congresswoman's comments could certainly reignite the debate whether or not the president can or should be the Democratic Party's standard bearer by November. President Biden got back to the White House this morning. He had spent the weekend at his Delaware beach home. He kept his comments to reporters focused on foreign policy, but it is the issue of foreign policy, specifically U.S. support for Israel, that has Congresswoman Tlaib, a Palestinian American, making this plea for the party to abandon Biden.
Right now, we feel completely neglected and just unseen by our government. If you want us to be louder, then come here and vote uncommitted.
A Monmouth University poll shows 20% of registered voters believe the president will be replaced as the Democratic nominee.
Two of America's best-known credit card companies are set to become one.
Capital One announced Monday that it is acquiring Discover in an all-stock deal worth $35.3 billion. Discover shareholders will get just over one share of Capital One stock for each Discover share they already own. Capital One shareholders will own about 60% of the combined company, and Discover shareholders the remaining 40%. The transaction is expected to close either late this year or early in 2025, depending on regulatory and shareholder approval. Kevin Uretsky, Fox News.
The Biden administration has reportedly put together a proposed draft UN Security Council resolution that would call for a temporary ceasefire and call on Israel not to go into Rafah and the Gaza Strip. Reuters reporting that resolution could be unveiled by the Biden administration today. More than 130 hostages, including Americans, are also believed to be held there. Former South Carolina governor and presidential hopeful Nikki Haley wrapping up campaign efforts ahead of the state's primary this week. Fox's Alexandria Hoff is in Greer, South Carolina.
Nikki Haley's uphill battle is no less steep in her home state.
It's a great day in South Carolina.
The former governor is hoping for at least a competitive showing in Saturday's Republican primary. The latest Citadel poll out of South Carolina shows Haley 33 percentage points behind former President Trump. That's despite receiving nearly $10 million more in political ad support, according to tracking firm Ad Impact. Haley has been highly critical of Trump's take on foreign policy, as well as his ability to beat President Biden in the general election, given his calendar of court dates. At a rally in Michigan Saturday, Trump's focus was largely on condemning the legal cases against him, only briefly mentioning South Carolina and Haley.
Former President Trump's expected to arrive in South Carolina today and will take part in a town hall with Fox's Laura Ingraham. I'm Sue Guzman on the Fox News Rundown.
This is the Fox News Rundown.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and newstalkstl.com. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
It's Tuesday at 4:25. We speak with David Stokes from the Show Me Institute, and at 5:25, Dr. Randy Tobler.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
The Herzog Foundation is the vision of its founder, Stanley Herzog, and it exists to promote and accelerate the development of quality Christ-centered K-12 education.
Hi, this is Daryl Jones, president of the Herzog Foundation. Our primary goal is to advance Christian education so that families and culture flourish. The legacy of Stan's business career centers around making national transit ecosystems accessible and sustainable. Likewise, the legacy of Stan's philanthropy centers around making the ecosystems of Christian Christian education more accessible and sustainable for families across the nation. Visit HerzogFoundation.com to learn more about our programs, including trainings, scholarships, conferences, news, and our podcast, Making the Leap.
Visit HerzogFoundation.com to learn more and sign up for The Lion, an initiative of the Herzog Foundation that carries articles covering a wide range of issues facing American families and culture. HerzogFoundation.com.
It's a new year, so come check out the great financing offers going on now at Seavers JCB. Rates as low as 0.99% on nearly all JCB compact construction equipment, including the industry-leading JCB Teleskid. For details, go to SeaversJCB.com. Mini excavators, track loaders, small wheel loaders, and even the industry-leading JCB compact load all range. Seavers JCB has them all. Visit SeaversJCB.com for more information.
Congratulations to everyone at Connor Roofing. We chose the Connor Roofing team for our National Best of the Best Award for customer satisfaction without telling anyone at Connor Roofing, based on over 30 years of fantastic customer reviews. Rob and Kathy Connor and their team deliver very high quality roofing, siding, gutters, storm damage restoration at a fair price with integrity. Connor Roofing has had an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau for years. Count on Connor. For an estimate, please visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER roofing.com.
The O'Reilly Update, brought to you by Seavers JCB. Visit them at their St. Peter's location.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, if you own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles, listen up. CarShield is a low-cost monthly vehicle protection plan now available to you. This protection plan is at an all-time low price. Please call 800-925-7584 for a free quote. Drivers who activate today will also receive free roadside assistance and towing at no additional cost. That is 800-925-7584 right now. On this Tuesday, the unintended consequences of New York State targeting Donald Trump for destruction will become apparent shortly. Doesn't matter what you think of the former president, there is little justice on display in this unprecedented attack by state officials. Corruption comes in many forms. People in powerful positions are obligated to treat everyone fairly. That's obviously not happening when a judge fines a person $400 million for a civil violation that has never been prosecuted before. There were plenty of high fives after the Trump fine and corporate banishment by a leftist judge who will be overturned, I predict. But those congratulatory signals are foolish in the extreme. New York City is now a place of violence and oppression. The smart money knows the progressives in charge of the city and state have ruined the quality of life and destroyed the criminal and civil justice systems. Thus, the exodus out of New York will continue, and so will the human suffering that anarchy causes. There is a clear tenet in America that the punishment must fit the crime. When you have people in charge who could not care less about equal justice, who abuse their power in frightening ways, who are dancing on the embers of a once great city, then it is literally survival time. Back in a moment. If you thought booking your timeshare was difficult before, you know it's almost impossible now. For more than a decade, Lone Star Transfer has helped thousands of owners legally and permanently get out of their never-ending timeshare fees. Lone Star Transfer guarantees the release of all liability to your timeshare in writing and in a specific time frame. For free, no-obligation consultation, please call 855-551-7066 or go to LoneStarTransfer.com. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Boy, this sweet stretch of weather continues for a couple more days here. Sunny and warmer for your Tuesday, 63 this afternoon with a south wind at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Clear tonight, Wednesday morning, not quite as chilly as the last few mornings, the low at 42. Warmest air of the week arrives tomorrow. Wednesday's high 67 under increasing cloud cover. Be ready for rain and a few thunderstorms on Thursday, most of that coming down in the morning. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Talk radio made in St. Louis.
Very excited for what you guys are doing for the St. Louis community.
For St. Louis. Relevant local talk.
Saying what we are thinking.
This is News Talk STL.
You guys are awesome. I love you. And it's a tremendous honor to be on the station.
News, analysis, and opinion.
Thanks for covering the local angle.
Come on, people. This is America.
We better open our eyes.
Really local, really good.
News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1,
and newstalkstl.com.
Like us on Facebook at News Talk STL. Let's get the day started right. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Crime, corruption, a lack of basic city services, not showing up to emergency calls in a reasonable manner. These are just some of the problems affecting the city of St. Louis. And here's the thing, is that affects the entire region. So what do we do about it? Well, there is a town hall event coming up this week to address just that. And you know what? Some leftists are saying on social media they don't like the idea of this event happening and these conversations happening, so they're planning to crash it. It's going to be interesting to see what they do. I'm Mike Ferguson. Thanks for making News Talk STL part of your morning. We're going to have more details on that town hall event. It's free. We'll tell you when and where you're encouraged to go, no matter what part of the metro you live in. And we'll do that a little bit later on with our friends from Freedom Principle, Missouri. On Monday's program, State Senator Nick Schroer joined us to give us an update on what they're going to be working on this week in the Missouri legislature. Because remember, they took half the week off last week to go celebrate the Chiefs Super Bowl championship. Well, there's a lot of stuff that needs to get done. There's a lot of stuff that's not gotten done. So they're just farther behind than they should have been. So we got the update from him on that. And I also asked him about some of the Freedom Caucus members, his colleagues, our friends, who frankly posted on social media an accusation against a guy who was not guilty of the horrible shooting that happened and where we should go from here. Here's that conversation. Nick, I'm careful how I am saying this. Okay, so this week you're going back to the state capitol, but I always usually say, okay, the legislature is going back to work this week, but we don't know that anything's going to get done. And then, of course, you all, meaning the Freedom Caucus, said, why in the world are we going to go party with the Chiefs when there's stuff not getting done? But one way or the other, everybody's back at the Capitol this week.
Yeah, it's a bit embarrassing, seeing that we're almost in our third month of the legislative process and really haven't gotten anything done. And everything that has gotten up to this point, I mean, the first bill that was out of the chamber was Freedom Caucus bill. The Freedom Caucus said, look, we're not going to prioritize all of this lobbyist sludge, all of these lobbyist gimmies. Well, we're going to go to the people and say we need to prioritize what we, the people, what our boss ultimately wants to be done first, and that is initiative petition reform. We had just a couple of weeks ago, hundreds, I think it was over 500 people from the grassroots community came up to voice their opinion that, yes, we have to protect our Constitution. And, even just this week when we gavelled out and, everybody went to the parade except for the Freedom Caucus members, there's another $1 million from out-of-state billionaires coming in to legalize abortion up to the point of birth in our Constitution. So I'm hoping we've heard from leadership. I had a good talk with Cindy O'Laughlin, who said, no, it's time to work. Let's roll up our sleeves. And if the Democrats want to filibuster, they're going to filibuster their hearts out until we take a vote on this thing. If it's 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. So that gives me some hope. That gives me some hope that we're actually going to get this done. The next couple things on the agenda, if we get initiative petition reform done, is ultimately some Freedom Caucus bills. Again, we've got education reform. We've got defunding Planned Parenthood. So in a good week, we could get all three of those things done.
Morning, Nick. Gabe here. So how confident are you that you're actually going to be able to get through a lot of those big red priorities? I mean, like you already expressed confidence in the initiative petition performance to some degree, but what about the others?
You know, I'm hearing, because it's my bill, and I know Mary Elizabeth Coleman has the bill as well, defunding Planned Parenthood. We've gotten that thing out of the House year after year after year. It's never gotten across the finish line because it hits the blockade of the Democrats filibustering in the Senate. However, I said this on the floor just a week, 2 weeks ago. The Democrats have voted on defunding Planned Parenthood when it was put in the budget process, the budgetary process, which they knew was going to get thrown out in court. Since 2020, the courts have said you can't put this in the budget. But I'm pretty confident that their backs are going to be against the wall. And if they're going to filibuster their hearts out for 2 or 3 days on initiative petition reform, I highly doubt that they're going to do that again on defunding Planned Parenthood when they voted for that in a separate bill process in the past. Education reform, I'm not so optimistic because I know that we still have Republicans that do not want universal education choice. They don't want vouchers. They don't want any form of expanding the options for parents outside of the government schools. But that's where I think we need leadership to say, okay, look, if you want to go out there and kill this bill, filibuster it. The people have spoken that they actually want choice when it comes to education, not just sending their money to government schools.
Hey, Nick, let me let you answer some of the claims that are made by people, at least on social media, who claim they're conservatives, but they say, no, this school choice thing is really just a big government thing because then you're putting private schools and you're putting homeschoolers under DESE and you're adding all of the strings when you take their words, government money and help pay for public education out or education out of the public school system because they're getting all fired up. This is the new messaging that they're going to run with. And I have a feeling that it's only a matter of days before the media starts parroting that as well. Yeah. So what's the answer to the argument to saying, oh, so now you want government to run, private schools and homeschooling and things like that?
Well, number one, that's not the case whatsoever. And I don't know where this conversation is beginning of, this is government money. No, this is the people's money. If the people would just poof, like in Avengers, if the guy Thanos snaps his fingers and we've got half the population gone, well, that's money that's not going to these government schools. It's the people that are making this money, and ultimately it's their kids. It's to benefit their kids, and I think the money should follow their kids. So this is something where if there is a concern of DESE getting involved with homeschooling and with private schools, it's clear. Make sure in your legislation that DESE has no strings attached to any of these institutions outside of the government schools. So I don't know where this conversation started of a fear that DESE is going to get involved with private schools and in homeschooling. But I've said this in committee. It's, when these bills move forward, let's work together to make sure that DESE has no control over your private school, over your homeschool, over your hybrid, whatever it may be. And ultimately, I think that we do need some reform when it comes to DESE. I think, the options of just pouring more and more and more money, as we've done year after year, into the government school system is actually failing kids. Look at the outcomes as of right now. In the past several years, the testing scores since COVID have just crashed. So we need to reform the system, but giving parents an actual option, it's the conservatarian choice of giving them every option available.
All right, we're visiting with State Senator Nick Schroer. Nick, I can't not ask this question, even because there were a number of your colleagues and my friends in the Freedom Caucus really messed up over the last few days regarding the social media reports of this poor guy who was detained for something unrelated to the shooting, and then some handles said illegal immigrant determined to be shooter or accused of shooter. Turns out none of that was true. You actually just asked the question specifically saying, is this true or false, which is the right approach. But there were a lot of conservatives who really messed that up and ran with we got to close the borders because, look, this is related to that. And it turns out that had nothing to do with it. Talk for a minute about the reminders that we should get. I mean, conservatives, libertarians, including our friends. And again, you know what? Some of our friends really messed up on this, to make sure that what we're saying is true. And we've got narratives too, but they need to be backed up by facts because, man, there are some people who put themselves in a position to get sued.
Yeah, this is something that I always warn my colleagues on the right, the left, wherever you are, Republican, Democrat, in terms of tragedy and big ticket items of the news media wanting you to react. Just wait. Just try to get all the facts before you react. And if if you have a reporter coming forward, and I had several reporters from the Kansas City Star, the Missouri Independent, asking me to comment on this, and I said, look, do we have all the facts yet? Do we know who the shooters are? Do we know what the motive is? I've seen videos that people have sent to me, constituents have sent to me, where it looked like there were 6 people that were apprehended at least that day. And then we're hearing that there were only 2 or 3 people arrested. We had Congressman Tim Burchett who came forward sharing a picture saying that there was an illegal immigrant involved. And that's where, I asked the hard questions that many journalists should is this confirmed or is this denied? Well, I mean, what are we doing? Are we going to spread this as gospel, or we're going to wait to see all these facts come out? And unfortunately, there were some individuals that said this was a illegal immigrant. The guy that kind of looked like Suge Knight, he was associated with the picture that everybody was going around. Tim Burchett shared the picture. But no, I think we ultimately need to use this as a learning moment. And when times of tragedy or big ticket items occur, let's wait to comment on this until all the facts come in.
Nick, in addition to a little bit of the right narrative building that we had going on there, we had the left trying to use this tragedy to build a narrative about the lax gun laws in Missouri. Has there been any major shifts, I guess, in the pushes for new legislation or anything like that? Has anything cropped up among that side of the body?
Well, I can guarantee you we're going to hear from Democrats today when we go back into session that they're going to be calling for whatever expansive gun laws to strip law-abiding citizens of their right to protect themselves, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, and life, liberty, and property. Unfortunately, it's not a case of needing more laws. We actually have laws on the books that prevent minors from getting guns, from buying guns, from owning guns. We've got laws on the books in Kansas City. It is illegal for them to open carry without a concealed carry permit. And by the way, to get a concealed carry permit in the state of Missouri, you have to be an adult. The places that were all the business entities in that area in Union Station were gun-free zones. So it's not needing more laws. It's needing prosecutors, needing law enforcement to go and actually implement the laws that are on the books right now. We heard the news media, we heard these Democrats saying that it's the AR-15s, it's all these different guns. No, it's the knuckleheads that are not abiding by the laws, and the deterrent effect of actually enforcing those laws, it's not happening in Kansas City. Very similar to what we had in St. Louis under Kim Gardner. We've got rogue prosecutors. We've got left-wing radicals that are running that city down there that are saying we're not going to prosecute drug crimes. We're not going to prosecute minor crimes if we disagree with them. Need to prosecute the laws that are on the books to deter, like in the broken windows fashion, the most minor crimes from steamrolling into bigger crimes. So, I think we're going to hear some Democrats standing up trying to use this, as Rahm Emanuel said, let no tragedy go to waste. But we're going to have individuals in the Freedom Caucus, namely Nick Schroer, standing up saying, no, enough is enough. This is not the narrative. This is not the case. And let the truth prevail.
All right. And State Senator Nick Schroer, you all are probably off today for President's Day, so you're heading back to the Capitol on Tuesday, right?
No, we're actually getting the work done. That was one of the things that we put our foot down and said, look, if you guys are going to try to gavel out and take Wednesday, Thursday, when we haven't done it, we need to try and do the people's work on Monday. So we're going in today, and hopefully we're going to start on initiative petition reform, and we'll run that until we get it passed.
Okay, great. You cut out for a second, but I think that was probably fortuitous because I don't know which word you just used to describe that. So, but anyway, Nick, great to talk to you again. Of course, we're always tuning in for a stand and fight on Sunday nights, man. Good to talk to you.
Thanks, Nick.
Absolutely. God bless you. Have a good week.
The news roundup comes your way in just about 2 minutes and 17 seconds right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Always be clear where you get your conservative talk.
Soros Fund Management is positioned to become the biggest shareholder of Odyssey, the nation's second largest radio company.
St. Louis's trusted source
And number one for live and local conservative talk.
This is News Talk STL.
Freedom isn't just a word, it should be a way of life for all Missourians. Wouldn't it be wonderful to live in a state where you're free from excessive taxes, regulations, and corporate handouts, and free to send your children to the school of your choice? That's why we at the Show Me Institute put together our 2024 Missouri Blueprint, a roadmap on how the state can progress to a bright future. The blueprint covers policy ideas from a Bill of Rights for parents to government transparency, school report cards, healthcare reform, and more. Our vision is for Missouri to be a place where entrepreneurs can pursue their dreams, parents are free to direct the education of their children, and a growing economy provides opportunities for all. Critical to achieving this vision is a government that understands the value of freedom in the lives and future of our people. Check out our 2024 Missouri Blueprint, moving Missouri forward at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Tony Colombo here, reminding you to visit my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton before your next trip into the great outdoors. For decades, Bluff City Outdoors has covered all the needs for area fishermen, and they'll always have all the best bait, tackle, and gear for your next trip on the water. And now they cover all your bow hunting needs, including their state-of-the-art indoor archery range and techno hunt system, open every day for you to come shoot, or you can join a league. Follow Bluff City Outdoors on Facebook and learn more at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
This news update brought to you by Anton's Plumbing and HVAC. Call Anton's at 314-338-3941 or visit them at antonshvac.com.
Good morning, St. Louis. It's Ben Shapiro. Join me every weeknight for The Ben Shapiro Show. But right now, back to the Mike Ferguson Show on the new conservative voice of St. Louis, 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
All right, some St. Louis residents are going to court to demand that the city actually does its job and remove squatters who are making life miserable for one neighborhood.
I think I know where that's at.
Yeah, South City.
Yeah.
Have you seen this insane squatters tarp tent thing that they've got there?
I haven't seen it for a few months, but I did see it every week for about 5 or 6 years up until a few months ago.
Channel 2 did a story on this particular one. It's amazing to me that nobody has removed these crazy people.
It is a shocker.
Oh, my goodness. All right, a key Missouri Republican is backing down on Second Amendment rights because he wants to be respectful to leftists in Kansas City. Yep, I said it. Also, Gabe's wife left the Enterprise Center happy. Gabe has no public comment on the game if he knows what's good for him.
Agreed.
5:53 right now. I'm Mike Ferguson. Got the aforementioned Gabe and Stell here. All right, going to go into this a little bit later in more depth. Missouri lawmakers are considering bills to let me put it this way. Missouri lawmakers were considering bills to allow CCW permit holders to carry on public transit and carry in houses of worship if the church allows it. House Majority Leader Jonathan Patterson has shelved that proposal, though, saying it would be disrespectful to far-left Kansas City Mayor Quinton Lucas, who opposes the measure and then spoke out after last week's shooting at the Chiefs championship celebration. So basically, he's cowering to the left, which is exploiting the horrible shooting in Kansas City, which was, can I say the word thug?
Mm-hmm.
Between two thugs who got into a fight and decided to just indiscriminately shoot at each other when there were literally about 1 million people around.
Dogs everywhere just started whistling.
Exactly.
Oh, my gosh.
What did he just say?
No. Well, the thing is, if you can't call a thug, then the thug ceases to mean anything.
Right. So basically, the mayor and the far-left Democrats who are trying to they're trying actually to advance gun control in the state.
Mm-hmm.
And he pulls this measure. He says, well, it would be disrespectful to the mayor because Kansas City doesn't want it. Then be freaking disrespectful.
Right. You know what? Here's the thing about rights is it doesn't care who doesn't like them.
Yeah.
You know, the rights are rights. And making sure that Missourians can exercise their Second Amendment rights as they see fit should be your priority.
Well, and
not somebody's fifis.
And the proposals don't actually go far enough because they basically still say that your Second Amendment rights are contingent on a permit and government permission.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that doesn't even go far enough. So I don't really have any respect for this decision whatsoever on it. But
you shouldn't.
Especially, I mean, listen, Kansas City is a deep blue area, just like St. Louis. Mm-hmm. They're never going to vote for you, dude.
No.
So screw them.
I've never understood the Republican tendency, at least some Republicans, to acquiesce to the left as though they're going to somehow garner some respect or garner some level of positive feelings from voters or anything like that. They're never, ever going to give you credit for anything you do.
And let's call it what it is. He's a Republican with no backbone.
Yeah, and I just when I said screw him. A bunch of Republicans like, no, Mike, you can't say that. Yeah, I can.
Yeah, you can.
They're never going to vote for you.
No.
They're never going to do it. So why are you worried about it? You're worried about the media throwing a fit like in the wake of 22 people being injured, which is a horrible thing, and we've treated it with more gravity and respect, I think, than a lot of other conservatives. With one woman who was murdered, basically the Democrats and the left are the ones who are showing the lack of respect by saying, great, there's our opportunity. Let's climb on the dead bodies. Let's climb on the wounded to try to take away people's rights.
Imagine when they were expanding driving rights to younger people. They said in the wake of 400,000 car accidents a year, lawmakers are considering expanding driving rights to 16-year-olds. Imagine that if that was the casting, if that was the way they sort of presented the story.
Exactly.
That's exactly what they're doing. They're talking about the misuse of something as a means by which to control everybody else who uses that thing.
Yep. All right, other news here. What's wrong with the Francis Howell School District's network? All schools in the district are closed at least today and tomorrow because of what the administration calls an unexpected activity that disrupted the system. They aren't saying it's a cyber attack, but they did tell families that connected systems were taken offline as a security measure. In the meantime, the students are supposed to do the remote learning protocol, which I'm totally sure is happening completely today.
Wait a minute. So the system went down, but they're supposed to do remote learning. Isn't that the opposite of what should happen?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
And they've called in a third party to help them get things up, and they took down things because of the unexpected activity. It looks like it's a ransomware or it's a hack or it's a cyber attack is what it looks like.
Back in the day when somebody lost their system because of the system's down, the POS is down, you just take out your pen and paper.
Yeah, imagine that. All right, let's see here. A lawsuit is filed against the city over a homeless tent dwelling that's been in place for years. The tarp-covered mess has been growing at the corner of Spring and Chippewa for about 4 years now. It's in front of a home, covers part of a sidewalk, and juts into the street.
Filth everywhere, it smells, it's disgusting. It makes their front of their house unusable. If they have a lovely front porch, they can't use it.
All right, that's attorney Beavis Schock, who represents the homeowners affected by the mess. The lawsuit is asking the court to force the city to remove the squatters. City officials say the couple causing the problem are Sudanese refugees and have refused multiple offers for help. Oh, I got a lot to say about this.
Oh, yeah.
In just a little bit as well. All right, Gabe's wife, Janet, left the Enterprise Center a happy woman yesterday as her Maple Leafs beat the Blues 4-2. No game today or tomorrow for the Blues. They host the Islanders on Thursday. Gabe, did you have any thoughts on the game?
Janet had a good day.
Tim Jones here with Dr. Kim Patton from Comprehensive Integrative Healthcare. Kim, you focus on the treating of neuropathy. What are the signs of neuropathy?
The most common symptoms are numbness, burning, cramping, usually in the hands and feet.
Tell me about the success you're having with your Restore Neuropathy treatment program.
Tim, our program includes 8 distinct steps, offering a unique experience from other treatments. No surgery, no addictive medications, and we are seeing a success rate of 95%.
Kim, that is incredible. How can people learn more?
Visit us online at CIH.health. That's CIH.health.
Hey, Columbo here for Rockwood Charcoal. I love to grill and definitely prefer using charcoal over gas. And ever since I met Jonathan Heslup and he introduced me to his product, Rockwood Lump Charcoal, I can't use anything else. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory and has been the nationally highest consumer-ranked charcoal for several years. So you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. Doesn't get any better than that. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. His poll numbers consistently in the basement. President Biden faces opposition from within his own party as he runs for a second term. Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib urging Michigan Democrats to vote against Mr. Biden to vote uncommitted in the February 27th primary. Tlaib is upset with the administration's response to the Israel-Hamas war. The publisher of the New York Times says the White House is extremely upset with the newspaper for pointing out that President Biden is rather unpopular and is no spring chicken.
According to Politico, A.G. Sulzberger said in an interview that Joe Biden is a historically unpopular incumbent and the oldest man to ever hold this office. He went on to say that the New York Times has reported on both of those realities extensively, and the White House has been extremely upset about it. But the publisher told the Reuters Institute for the Study of Journalism that the newspaper will continue to report fully and fairly about the 81-year-old president. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Californians continue dealing with torrential rains and high winds, a result of yet another atmospheric river sweeping across the state.
A wet winter storm has been drenching California, closing a regional airport and trapping people in swollen rivers. It brought clouds, rain, gusty winds, high seas, and snow at elevation. There are flood watches and winter storm warnings across the state until Wednesday. Santa Barbara Airport, set in a flat plain surrounded by creeks, closed Monday after runways flooded.
Correspondent Jennifer King says President Biden has approved a disaster declaration for storm-battered parts of the state. Pending regulatory approval, Capital One will buy rival credit card company Discover, a $35 billion transaction. On Wall Street this morning, Dow futures are down 124 points. NASDAQ futures are off 94 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
The words you are about to hear are taken from letters sent in by members of the Trinity Debt Management Program.
Dear Trinity, today I'm making my final credit card payment.
Before I came to you, I was in a constant state of anxiety and panic, but now there is hope for my family's financial future.
Working with Trinity made me understand that I'm not alone.
You really do help people.
Your kindness will never be forgotten. Without Trinity's support, I would not have achieved my lifelong goal of becoming debt-free.
We saved a lot on interest and penalties, of course, but the reward was the gift of human kindness.
Trinity has carried me through a very difficult time in my life. You're amazing.
I used to feel so anxious and hopeless. Now I feel grace and peace.
God bless Trinity as you continue to help others become debt-free.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976. That's 1-800-990-6976.
From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Boy, this sweet stretch of weather continues for a couple more days here. Sunny and warmer for your Tuesday. 63 this afternoon with a south wind at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Clear tonight. Wednesday morning, not quite as chilly as the last few mornings. The low at 42. Warmest air of the week arrives tomorrow. Wednesday's high 67 under increasing cloud cover. Be ready for rain and a few thunderstorms on Thursday. Most of that coming down in the morning. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Do you have a car sitting around you want to get rid of? Then here's a great idea. Donate your car and help veterans and their families. Yes, one fast call to the Veteran Car Donation Program and we'll come and remove your car for free. Fast, free towing, and 24-hour response. You can donate most cars, trucks, or SUVs in most conditions. The proceeds raised goes to help active military, veterans, and their families, and you get a tax deduction. All you need to do is make this free call. Get rid of that old car and help the vets. We make it easy. Make this free call now and book your fast and easy pickup. Call the Veteran Donation Program now. Donate your car and help veterans and their families. Operators are standing by. Here's the number.
800-925-1596. 800-925-1596. 800-925-1596. That's 800-925-1596.
No big old corporate lib AM station telling us what to say here. Conservative talk for St. Louis. This is News Talk STL at 1019 94talkstl.com. Mike Ferguson.
We the people.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
It's not rocket science. Rocket science.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up. Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Okay, remember, decline to sign in 2024. All right, and that's not just because of the left's love affair with abortion. It's also because of their hatred for the Second Amendment and for your right to protect yourself. I think this is the time we get more unapologetic about defending our human right to self-defense right now.
Yeah.
Because what we're supposed to do as conservatives is cower and backtrap and go, oh, okay, I know, but there was a tragedy that happened. So there, you know what? We're going to be nice and respectful. We're not going to really. We're going to understand that you guys have a point and we should compromise. No, we should not. This is when we have to sure the ZZers of the world get respect. I'll explain that around 6:20. All right. 6:06 right now. Gabe Pfeiffer's here. Gastel Pontica's here. Missouri Democrats are hoping to pass a bill to place a gun control referendum on the ballot. Now, there's already a petition drive to try to get a gun control measure on the ballot as it is right now statewide. And so what's happening is the Democrats, who know that this is never going to pass, are trying to put it on the legislative calendar in order to do what Republicans are trying to do with initiative petition reform and have the legislature pass it, which means it goes right on the referendum and you don't have to spend all kinds of money getting the petition drive, the signatures and all that kind of stuff. And so what they're wanting to do is pass a bill that would put on the ballot something that allows local governments, cities, counties, whatever, to pass whatever gun control laws they want.
Yeah, I don't like that.
No, it's basically, and there's a petition drive trying to accomplish the same thing. So Crystal Quaid, the minority leader in the House, and the others had a big press conference talking about how Republicans don't care about, kids and are just pro-gun and all this kind of stuff. So they're trying to capitalize and exploit these mass shootings that happen, like the one in Kansas City with two teenagers who weren't legally allowed to have any firearms anyway, much less concealed ones. And so they want to pile on. They want to use that to try to take away more of your Second Amendment rights. So when we say decline to sign, that means anything this year. The biggest thing is obviously we want to stop the abortion one from going on the referendum just to avoid any risk of that death cult coming back into the state of Missouri. And with this right here, we don't want the death cult coming back into the state of Missouri by taking away our right to defend ourselves. And let me tell you one of the reasons I'm so fired about this, Gabe. About 26 years ago, I leave my apartment and my first wife and then my son, who was a newborn at that point, he was still an infant. I left and went out, ran an errand or something, came back, started to get out of my car, I get punched, and I turn around and there's a revolver at my forehead.
Oh, wow.
And I'm robbed at gunpoint. A few years later, they found the guy, and he had robbed one other person, and he did 15 years in prison. He's out now, but he served,
served his time.
He served the time. And so at that time, Missouri did not allow you to carry weapons legally. This is before concealed carry, certainly before constitutional carry.
Right.
So it dawned on me at that point, because I was pretty libertarian back then, but it was all conceptual to me.
Right.
But at that point, the law prevented me from being able to defend myself.
Yes.
But even more importantly, because some people say, well, but if you try to fight back, they have the advantage, you're probably going to get shot. Well, maybe, I don't know, because he had the element of surprise. But here's the thing, is that guy knew that there was a really good chance that I was defenseless because it was illegal.
Right.
For me to defend myself.
That's part of the equation.
That's part of the equation. And so that's one of the reasons I am so unapologetic about this, and I just don't give a damn about somebody's feelings about this. I mean, anybody's feelings about this. I have a right to protect myself. Literally, my son, who's now going on 27, 27. Yeah, 27. Was a newborn. He was an infant. And a lot of people forget in Missouri, we were a gun control state not that long ago.
Yeah.
And I almost paid for it with my life.
There's not quite any feeling in the world as the defenselessness you feel when you're staring down the barrel of a gun.
And the thing is that the adrenaline hits after he got literally $15 in a leather jacket. That's all I had on me.
Mm-hmm.
And then the adrenaline hits.
Yeah.
And then the adrenaline dump happens.
Mm-hmm.
And then you don't sleep for a couple days, knowing there was nothing I could do about it, that the only reason that my skull wasn't aerated was just basically by the grace of God.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
So I am absolutely passionate about not just the Second Amendment, but about your human right to protect yourself. And so this pisses me off when I see any effort to say, well, somebody needs to be able to local control, write in gun safety measures. No, screw you.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, these gun safety measures are never actually gun safety measures. They are control methods for law-abiding people.
Right.
That's the only thing. That's the only purpose any of these things serve. You're not going to prevent people who want to do illegal things from continuing to do illegal things with guns.
Right. Precisely. So decline to sign anything this year, any referendums, any petitions, anything. And you know what I'm saying is that you need to be putting pressure on everybody in your social circles not to sign. And if you've got that person in your social circles like, well, I just can't say no, I don't want a conflict, then do the Larry Connors advice. Say, well, you know what? Just sign Ronald McDonald and do something fake on there. You know, we have a good conservative Secretary of State. In most areas, you've got county clerks who are going to do the right thing. They're going to see it doesn't match up. Ronald McDonald at 123 Main Street is not on the voter rolls. That gets struck.
Actually, turn it into a game. If you would really like to, if you don't want the conflict of having to decline, to actually say to somebody, and you're the type of person who's going to want to do something to get them away, make it a game. Which your favorite person, favorite fictional location, favorite fictional phone number. I'm just gonna be like, like you said, Ron McDonald. Not my favorite person, but Ron McDonald's a good start. 1313 Mockingbird Lane.
There you go.
Right,
you go. Yeah.
And then 867-5309.
There you go.
Hey guys, please.
That's right.
Just have fun with it if you're gonna have to do that.
I usually put Charles Brown.
Charles Brown.
There
Instead
of
Charlie Brown.
Charles. Nice.
Charles
Nice.
Brown.
There it
yes,
is, yeah.
exactly.
All right, got any suggestions for names? Let me know. I'm watching the Rumble chat box. Okay, this is interesting here because we got a few minutes here. I found this in Forbes, actually. The biggest review of side effects of the vaccine, the COVID vaccine, has been published. This is the largest worldwide, by the way.
99 million vaccinated people.
Yes.
Over 8 countries.
It shows a higher than expected rate of some side effects, and we're talking about heart and brain disorders, of those who were vaccinated. So apparently they actually expected some, but I guess they thought it was so marginal it was worth the risk. But the science, capital S, community still says it's worth it to get the vaccine. So basically, here's what they've got. Now, I printed this out for you, Gabe. So you're going to have to explain some of the sciencey stuff here.
Yeah, I've had about 3 minutes to scan it, so hopefully I can.
I'm just hoping you could define some of the stuff here.
Sure, yeah.
Researchers from the Global Vaccine Data Network, which is part of the WHO, so it's very credible.
Oh, yeah.
Completely believable.
On a scale of 1 to 10, it's way up there.
So
I wouldn't go that high.
So they looked at expected versus observed rates of 13 different medical conditions for those who both were vaccinated and didn't get the vaccine. And so these were 13 medical conditions considered adverse events of special interest in the population of 99 million vaccinated people in 8 countries, like you just said.
That's
so
very large group, which is good. That's usually a good thing for studies.
Right. So myocarditis, which is an inflammation of the heart, and this one had a lot of attention over the last couple of years. That's one of the areas where they started. That's where they looked at. And so in the first, second, and third doses of the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccines, the highest rate of myocarditis was seen after the second Moderna dose. So it was over 6 times higher, the expected rate of myocarditis, which meaning they actually expected to get some, but what they had was 6 times higher than what they expected.
Right.
But did they use the phrase that they did trials in there? That they ran trials beforehand? Because they did not.
No, these aren't trials.
Yeah, no.
No, not these. I mean, did they look back and go, hey, in our trials, we expected such and such, but it actually was higher than we expected? Because I'm just saying that because they didn't do any trials.
I don't know if this study
right.
looked at the trials. They're just looking at
there weren't any.
Right. Okay.
That's all I'm saying. They didn't do any valid trials, like
Right.
6 years, 8 years, like they did for other vaccines. They may have done
but that
couple weeks.
that was the Operation Warp Speed.
I understand.
Yeah, that was. I mean, everybody was.
They wanted emergency use authorization.
Right. Yeah, that was. I mean, that was like the. I mean, let's just say it. It was the Trump thing. It was the
No, it was the Fauci thing.
Well,
I disagree.
But Trump bragged about it.
Warp Speed was Trump.
What's that?
Warp Speed was Trump.
Warp Speed, Operation Warp Speed was Trump.
But he did not run the thing. He let those folks take care of it. Trump is the type of guy who runs a business, runs a government like a business. Okay, I've got you guys hired. I got Birx in here. I got Collins. I got Fauci. You guys go ahead and do what you need to do. Let's get this thing out, and let's do it now. That's my perspective on it.
But I mean, he bragged about it. He campaigned on it.
Well, he bragged about it
until it. Hold on, let me finish.
Okay.
Until it became unpopular, then he turned on those people.
Well, he didn't turn.
Yeah.
He just backed off.
Right.
He just said, "Hey."
I'm saying is, but that was. I mean, that was like his initiative, and he was praised for it at the time.
Meanwhile, the Democrats said, "Oh no,
right.
this thing's a joke." And then the day after they're in office, they decide, "Oh yeah, we'll get the shot."
Well, in terms of the studies,
yeah, I mean, we're completely off the rails. I can't get to the rest of the information because we're over time.
No, go ahead.
Yeah,
that's right.
No, we're over time.
Yeah.
But in terms of the study stuff, it's part of the problem of defining all of these terms is that they're. How do I put this? When they say more than expected,
right.
Well, then you have to define what expected,
right.
and I think that's kind of speaking to what you were trying to get at.
And I'm pointing out that they expected some.
Yeah, well, yeah, they actually did.
They actually went into this knowing because that's not what we were told.
Yeah, yeah, and they didn't tell us that they expected myocarditis to spike. And the one big pull away quote that I'm really curious about, and I've only had a couple minutes to scan this here, is that the odds of all of these adverse events is still much higher when infected with COVID-19. So getting vaccinated is still by far the safer choice. That's according to the now, of course, again, the source. This is according to the CEO of biotechnology company, Certivitvax, Jacob Glover. So there's so much about these things that they come out in the reports of them, but you don't really see what's behind those things.
Right,
and I've been so skeptical of what they've been reporting, even in these very large, robust studies, or reportedly large, robust studies. I'm really skeptical about
some of the interesting thing, because what they're arguing is they're saying, well, the people who just had COVID and didn't get a vaccine had all these things at even higher rates.
Yeah.
But if they had the COVID vaccine, it was higher than we thought, but it was still less than if you had COVID. Which, by the way, at the end of the story, you notice that like, oh yeah, this next variant that's out there right now, nobody noticed. And the season's almost over, and the hospitalizations and the death. Well, the hospitalizations are holding steady, but the deaths and the infections are like way down, and nobody noticed. So what we have here is an estimated 71% of the world population,
Wow. Oh my gosh,
received at least one dose of somebody's vaccine, which is an almost incomprehensible number to me. And then you figure somebody paid for each and every one of those.
Yeah, what kind of boondoggle was that? I mean,
oh my gosh,
seriously.
Yeah, and so what we're still seeing is like right now, like, well, this new variant, which is they're like, we were supposed to be all scared. Everybody went, and guess what? It's over.
Yeah,
and nobody noticed.
5.6 billion people. 5.6 billion people. How much per dose do you think the government shelled out to these various companies for that?
I don't know. I mean, even if we go to a low ball and say $10.
Yeah, let's say it was $10.
I mean, I'm probably more than that. But,
$56 billion.
Jeez, it's probably more than that.
Yeah. It's probably. I mean, honestly, because of the cost of these things, it's probably like in the realm of hundreds of dollars per dose.
Oh, probably, yeah.
So it's fair to say, follow the money.
Yeah, without a doubt. All right, just ahead here, the State Department is focusing on the really important stuff, like ZZair.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's very important. It's very
Neither
important.
do they. That's the point. All right, that's just ahead here. 1019-94.1 News Talk STL.
For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
I have had enough of this. Turn my eyes to your indifference. Stop right now before you blow us all away. You wanna do that? Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your curtain call. Get up.
I got an email which brought a smile. A woman named Mary wrote me, "We are purchasing a new roof from John Beal based on your recommendation." I thanked her then. I do it again now. Mary, I only endorse clients I believe in, and I've been a spokesman for John Beal for 10 years. It's all about trust. So if, like Mary, you need John Beal, trust me. Call 1-800-NEW-ROOF. 1-800-NEW-ROOF.
The Freedom Principal and News Talk STL invite you to a special St. Louis City Town Hall, Thursday, February 22nd at the St. Louis Police Officers Association on Hampton Avenue. Join moderator Tim Jones and expert panelists for a crucial discussion, building a better, safer St. Louis City. Learn what legislators are doing in Jefferson City to protect and build a safer community for all citizens. The St. Louis City Town Hall is free and open to the public. For more information, visit freedomprincipalmo.org.
Hey, Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros. When Christine and I bought our new house, we knew the gutters were an issue, and after meeting the Gutter Pros team, we knew that they were right for us. Gutter Pros is your all-in-one gutter service team that offers a variety of affordable solutions, and they even offer free estimates, so there's no cost to you to find out if they are right for your home, just like they were for ours. If you're having a problem with your gutters, contact the Gutter Pros now, because with Gutter Pros, water goes where they tell it to. Call them at 314-656-7195 or visit gutterpros.com.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hey everyone, this is State Senator Nick Schroer. I am the host of Stand and Fight every Sunday night. Tune in to us at 8 p.m. Right now, let's hear more of Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show here on News Talk STL.
All right, the U.S. Department of State is kind of busy these days. You want to guess why? We'll get there in just a second. Lawmakers and community advocates are coming together this week to address some of the things holding St. Louis back. You should be there. We're going to give you the information right around 6:35. All right, 6:22 right now. So anybody want to guess why the State Department's busy these days, guys?
I'm wondering what they're doing. What are they occupying their time with?
Right. I mean, what are some of the things you think would be taking up their time?
The State Department. I would think that it has something to do with, all the foreign wars. And
Absolutely. Yeah, you would think.
Yeah. Like Israel or
Israel,
Ukraine.
Right. Yeah.
China and Taiwan.
Yes, definitely.
Because that's a rising threat, right? Yeah, all that.
Keeping them very busy.
Yeah.
But not busy enough.
No.
The Secretary of State has time to warn department employees about misgendering.
Oh, okay. So the really, really important things. Okay,
yes,
I didn't realize.
Yes.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you would think that these stories would have died off because that was like all the rage about 5-6 years ago or so.
Yeah.
But National Review got a hold of an internal, what they call a cable, directive from the secretary.
Right.
And it was leaked to National Review, which has turned around and confirmed the authenticity and asked for a comment from the State Department, and they said, well, we don't comment on leaked information.
Golly, a leaked cable sounds like World War II.
Yeah. So here's
loose lip sync ships.
Here's part of what they said. This is directly from Antony Blinken, by the way, the Secretary of State. He said, making assumptions about another person's gender identity based on their appearance or name, and I'm quoting here, can be problematic. And it can send, once again, I'm quoting, harmful exclusionary messages. He wrote in a February 5th cable, which was just sort of found by National Review. It instructed State Department employees to avoid using common terms like mother, father, son, daughter, husband, wife.
All right.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. We are ruled by morons.
Yes.
That's what's currently going on.
Mm-hmm.
The subject of the cable is called, and I swear I am not making this up.
Oh, no. It gets better?
Yeah. It's called Modeling DEIA. I don't know what the A is, but it's called Modeling DEIA, Gender Identity Best Practices.
DEIA.
I think the A stands for asinine.
These acronyms keep growing. You ever
I
notice
know.
this? It's like they're monsters.
Oh, my goodness.
Hydras with multiple heads.
The goal is to, and these are their words, increase understanding of gender identity and provide guidance on gender identity language and best practices that support an inclusive work environment. The cable goes on. Let me just read part of this National Review article here. The cable says that gender is a social construct and that gender identity is a person's innermost concept of self as masculine, feminine, a blend of both, or neither, which may or may not correspond with one's sex assigned at birth. This is the official position of the Biden administration's Secretary of State and State Department.
Shut up.
Yeah.
that's my response. No, shut up.
Yeah, here's and this is a quote from the directive. Commonly used pronouns could include she, her, he, him, they, them, and zir.
They're really taking it seriously, aren't they?
The thing goes on to say that some people use more than one set of pronouns and some people may accept all pronouns. The cable also instructs staffers to use gender-neutral language wherever possible. So if you thought that was dumb enough, oh no. But wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more. It gets dumber.
Okay. Let's see here. Problematic terms include manpower.
Oh, gosh.
You guys.
Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh.
Ladies and gentlemen, and even, of course, the mother, father, husband, wife, son, daughter. Those are all supposed to be avoided by official policy as a directive by the Secretary of State.
Okay, so let's replace those then. All right. So what was it?
Manpower.
Manpower, slave labor. How about that?
Yeah. Labor force.
Yeah. No, slaves.
Yeah.
Slaves is a gender neutral term.
Yeah.
So,
it's true.
All right, state slaves, let's go.
Yeah, you don't have a slave S. Okay, so instead of you guys or ladies and gentlemen, you're supposed to say everyone, folks, you all, parent, child, spouse, or partner.
How about all right, you effers? Let's go.
I like that, actually. So here's a quote from the directive, from the cable. When speaking, avoid using phrases like brave men and women on the front lines. Use more specific language such as brave first responders, brave soldiers, or brave DS agents.
How about a little related story that I can toss in here? Did you hear about the 90-year-old volunteer out in California for the National Multiple Sclerosis Society?
Yeah.
He volunteered for 60 years.
Yeah.
She did not understand this pronoun thing, and they fired her.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Right. Unbelievable.
It's amazing.
Yeah, so the cable also instructs State Department employees not to pressure someone to state their pronouns. So apparently you're just supposed to know what they want.
What? Hold the phone. Stop the presses. I'm calling it audible. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, so one of the guidelines was you cannot assume somebody's gender or based on physical appearance.
Right.
And one of the guidelines that you just read says they have no obligation to tell you what their gender is.
Correct.
And the other definition was that their gender identity is an inwardmost feeling about who they are.
Yes.
So how the F am I supposed to know what to say?
That's really insensitive and non-inclusive of you. You're just thinking of yourself.
Okay, the policy is literally, in and of itself, logically inconsistent. And I mean, even if you accepted the gender ideology stuff, the policy itself is incomprehensible.
Right.
You can't do it.
Right.
It's like, okay, let's make a square sphere. It's like this is what I want you to do as part of to make sure that we're all inclusive. Everybody has to bring in a square sphere.
Okay, so as stupid as all of this is, which by the way, I when I get emails and a pitch from some public relations firm, hey, come interview our guest. Can we have our person on your show? And they have their pronouns at the bottom, delete.
Yep.
I don't care how good the pitch is.
Yeah, that's
I
trash.
just get deleted.
Absolutely.
But while we can laugh at the stupidity of this, This is the Department of State for the United States of America. This is one of the reasons the rest of the world's laughing at us right now.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I mean, there is a. Did you see the thing with? Well, he changed his name to Rachel Levine.
Oh yeah,
Richard Levine.
That
but
dude.
He changed his name, and so he actually did a video.
The dude in the wig
in his female outfit, complaining about how climate change is affecting communities of color. With greater impact than so literally the man wearing a dress who thinks he's a woman says the weather is racist.
Yes, that's literally what it is.
That's the Biden administration.
World on fire, minorities most affected. That's not how that works, guys.
And as someone who majored in meteorology for a couple of years, I'm calling BS.
Yeah, just a little bit.
My goodness. Yeah, so this is, and that cable, I don't know how the National Review got it. Obviously, somebody who works there likes National Review and forwarded it to somebody. And so if you go to their website, you can find it. We can actually probably post that. I'll post that on Rumble as well. And that's one of those where if you are not like subscribed to National Review, you get X number per month. So this counts as one of your views of one of their stories, one of your free ones, which I've got like one or two left. I should get more. My wife writes for National Review.
You should get a free subscription.
I should get on their wall. And I've done work with some of their people. I know there's a lot of conservatives. The conservatives aren't really mad at National Review. There's a lot of other people are mad at them, but they've got some interesting stuff. I like some of it. I don't like other parts of it, like anything else. So there you go. Department of State worried about Zers. See, if you make sure you tell me what pronouns you prefer, so I can make you mad and mock you to your face. That's my theory.
There you go.
Yeah. All right, just ahead here. This week we've got a town hall event coming up, and it's caused a little bit of activity on social media.
A little bit.
Yeah, I think this is going to be interesting. We'll tell you about it because what happens in St. Louis doesn't stay in St. Louis. So fixing the problems in the city is urgent for everybody. We'll tell you how that conversation is going to happen and how you can be a part of it right around 6:35 here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Columbo and Katie.
A proposed new Missouri law would ban mechanics from working on cars with expired tags. Good idea or bad idea? We'll talk about it Tuesday, plus Crane Durham at 2:20.
Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Boy, this sweet stretch of weather continues for a couple more days here. Sunny and warmer for your Tuesday. 63 this afternoon with a south wind at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Clear tonight. Wednesday morning, not quite as chilly as the last few mornings. The low at 42. Warmest air of the week arrives tomorrow. Wednesday's high 67 under increasing cloud cover. Be ready for rain and a few thunderstorms on Thursday. Most of that coming down in the morning. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Number one for live and local
conservative talk.
They always have great conversation.
News, analysis, and opinion.
As you know, the special counsel releases findings today about their look into my handling of classified documents.
Unmitigated disaster.
I did not break the law.
The Supreme Court is taking into consideration the political ramifications.
Why should a single state make this determination?
A handful of states are going to decide the presidential election.
101.9 and 94.1.
St. Louis is number one for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
Let me tell you a story about Rodney and Jen. Mike Ferguson here for the Wallner Home Selling Team of Berkshire Hathaway. I talk a lot about them on the air here, licensed in both Illinois and Missouri. They know the market. You may not even have to list your house because they have so many pre-approved buyers. You've heard me talk about that before. Let me tell you a story about them. My wife and I, in the process of getting kind of a getaway cabin, maybe something we can Airbnb in the St. Genevieve area. And just a couple years ago, of course, I talked to Rodney and Jen. Said, here's what we want to do. I think we're ready to go. And Rodney and Jen said, okay. I said, let's get you the information. But Rodney said right away, he goes, Mike, this may not be the right time. He said, if you're not, if you don't have to move, he said, if this, he goes, I know you're eager to do it. He goes, but the market conditions may not be right for you right now. Now, I'm thinking, wait a minute, you work in real estate. You only make money when I buy or sell something. And you're telling me hold off for just a little bit. Well, you know what happened? The market conditions changed, and now it's favorable to us to buy or build. And he was right. And so instead of immediately going, hey, I got a hot one on the hook here, let me just go ahead and sell him something. He said, let me tell you what I think you should do. And then he sent me comparables, and it was a little bit different in that market than what I thought it was going to be, which was really helpful. And so I'm thinking, man, Rodney and Jen, what they did was they put me and Rachel first. Because when you make a living by selling and buying stuff, you need people to buy and sell stuff. And most people are going to say, hey, you want to buy? Great, I'll sell you something. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not doing anything unethical. But what he did was saying, hey, great, we're happy to work with you. And they did. They've done a great job. He said, but it was just amazing to me that he goes, for what you're looking to do, you may want to hold off because you're going to get a better dollar for dollar value for this a little bit later on. And by God, he was right. 314-810-SOLD, 314-810-SOLD. That's the kind of person you want to do business with. That's who I want to do business with. Somebody who is going to put the people they serve, their clients, their customers, whatever you want to call us, going to put them first. Well, that's why so many people trust Rodney and Jen. That's why I trust Rodney and Jen. And that's why you should trust Rodney and Jen. And he sent me the comparables and all the things that you do. And he goes, here's what you look for. And he really empowered me and Rachel to move forward with our plan. Is it we decided to hold off like he suggested, and it's turned out that's absolutely the right move for us to make. Here's my challenge. Call them today, 314-810-SOLD. Tell them you heard Mike talking about them on the radio. Just tell him what you're thinking about doing or tell him what your situation is. He's going to give you a really good first impression of this, give you good advice. But probably what they're going to do is they're going to say, okay, let's dig into this, and we're going to get you more information. No obligation. And they are going to give you information that empowers you and your family, because that's what they're passionate about, is making sure you get the best dollar for dollar deal. 314-810-SOLD.
This is so stupid.
St. Louis's.
Okay, I'm hanging up on you now.
Place to talk. News Talk STL.
Hey, St. Louis, my name is Rob Carter. My new primetime show will explore the collaboration between corrupt media and our corrupted political system. From manipulated elections, open borders, mandated medicines, and unconstitutional lockdowns, what is going on?
The Rob Carter Show.
Let's talk about it on The Rob Carter Show. Join me weeknights from 8 to 10 p.m. on News Talk STL.
Rob Carter, live and local, weeknights at 8 on News Talk STL.
This is News 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton, and we're proud to be the official winter weather source for News Talk STL. The First Alert Weather Team is working hard to keep you ahead of the big weather changes and help you plan your day. So stay connected this winter with Channel 4 and News Talk STL.
Morning, people. Tony Colombo and Katie Fitzpatrick here.
Thanks for listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning here on News Talk STL. And don't forget to join us today at 2 for Colombo and Katie.
See you then.
Okay, there's an event coming up this week that's got a lot of people talking, and that's kind of the point. Let's get you the information about that here in just a moment. By the way, News Talk STL, check us out on social media. We're going to try to put a few of these news stories we're going to be talking about on there, on Twitter, on Facebook, and some of the others. So News Talk STL, pretty much every platform you're on. And, of course, follow us individually. Gabe, on Twitter, you are
at John Philosopher.
And I am at AVP Radio Show, which stands for American Viewpoints. Still not on X.
Just plain old Facebook.
Facebook, you can find him, STEL Ponticus, if you want to connect with him there.
Might be the only one in the world, so you shouldn't have any problem.
There you go. No, I actually, when I was in high school, I worked with Estelle.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, at a Wendy's in Quincy, Illinois.
How about that?
Yeah.
I'm guessing a Greek guy.
Probably. Yeah.
Okay.
When we were in high school, all we cared about was where we were going to go cruising after work. That's all we cared about. Yeah, so you're the second Stell. I've ever met. Yeah. And by the way, if you're a podcast person, check out American Viewpoints. That's my podcast. You can hear American Viewpoints, my syndicated show, Sunday morning every day or every week right here on News Talk STL. But after it airs, then I post that as podcast. And if you're subscribed, you can get those. Usually what it is just an interview with somebody really interesting. I've had everybody from, people to help you with your personal finances to Ben Carson to, to all sorts of different people on the show. So there's something interesting, about 9 minutes long each one, so it's not a long podcast. All right, joined now by Byron Keelin from Freedom Principal Mo here. You were going to have a town hall event about, frankly, some of the problem. You can't all the problems because you need like a month for that. But for a town hall event to talk about things like law enforcement and public services and a lot of the things that the city's just struggling with right now, that ended up getting postponed a little while back, but it's happening on Thursday this week. So we're going to give out the details, the where and the when and all that in just a few minutes. But give me kind of an overview of some of the things that you're settling on as far as the topics, because you're talking about the city, but you're really talking about the region.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. Appreciate coming in. And yeah, we're having the town hall. It's this Thursday, and we're going to be more. There's going to be a lot of things focusing on like crime. Obviously, the recent news story about the judge that ordered the audit of the crime statistics. Those are going to be things they're going to be talking about. The earnings tax. Representative Murphy, who's on the panel, has a couple of different versions of the earnings tax, and so does Representative Butts, who's also on the panel. That's going to be part of it, but also now Senator Koenig is replacing Senator Eigel in the panel, and so I can expect that there's going to be some questions regarding educational freedom on that.
Well, and on the earnings tax issue as well, it's not a new debate in the city, but you don't have to actually live in the city to be affected by the earnings tax, because this affects, those who live outside the city but work in the city, and people who live in the city but work outside the city. So this affects a lot of people.
Right, and there's the lawsuit, or the Supreme Court case, I guess it's still being determined, so that's going to have an impact. And what was interesting is that when Representative Murphy, who chaired a special committee this summer, had a hearing at Forest Park Community College, they had the budget director there of the St. Louis City asking about the earnings tax and how much money do they collect, like from out of state or from out of county, and from the people in the city? He's like, I don't know. I mean,
I don't know.
Oh, that's a great response.
I mean, that's a very St. Louis response.
It's like we don't calculate that, and it's like, you're the budget director. You would think you would know how much is coming in from where and what sources, so that if you did have this situation, particularly when you are facing a lawsuit of losing some of that, you would analyze this. I mean, so this is the kind of things that frustrates citizens, frustrates people within the region. It frustrates lawmakers. And so, there's going to be, Representative Murphy has the one bill that would exempt St. Louis County, St. Louis, or anybody that works outside of it, and that would allow them to do a refund of their earnings tax. Well, the problem is that have you ever tried to deal with St. Louis City? I mean, I actually had a light pole crush my truck.
Oh gosh.
Back in 2019, I still haven't gotten my $1,000 reimbursement from them. So, they're never going to pay this. I mean, and part of that bill is to allow you to go take them to court. Well, by the time you take them to court, you've already wasted all that money on legal fees. So what we're advocating for really is to get rid of the whole earnings tax period for everybody, help the economic growth through the city, help retain the population and things. So I expect a lot of questions regarding that. And obviously, Senator Schroer was on Fox News last week talking about crime. We saw the incident where the two ladies from out of town, again, were run over by cars. It seems to be an annual occurrence here in St. Louis City. That those are going to be topics that you can bet are going to be on the
because this one may be bigger than what a lot of people realize, not just a typical traffic wreck.
Right.
Yeah. Now the format for this is going to be, you're going to have a panel and you're going to have questions from the audience. How's it going to work?
Well, when people come in, they're going to have little forms to fill out. We're asking them to identify what neighborhood they're in. We're not asking them for their names, so we're not looking to do that, but we're looking to try to see where everybody is coming from. this was put together or requested by a consortium of St. Louis neighborhood associations. So we're expecting, hopefully at least 100 to 200 people there for this event, and
representatives from various geographical areas around the city.
Yeah, and we know a lot of people that are coming from the county. We were at Lincoln Days this weekend, and a lot of people are like, "Yeah, we're coming to your town hall," and they're from St. Louis County and things. So we're expecting a good crowd, but they're going to write down their questions. That way we can keep things moving along. But Tim Jones from your station here is going to moderate the panel. We have Senator Koenig, Senator Schroer, Representative Justin Sparks, Representative Steve Butts. Now we've added Representative Donna Berenger from South St. Louis City, and we've also invited Senator Steve Roberts. So really trying to make this a bipartisan, effort here to solve these problems, because we need to have the Democrats' support to get some of these bills past the filibuster.
Right. Give out the specifics, where, when, that sort of thing as well.
It's Thursday, February 22nd. It's from 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at the St. Louis Police Officers Association, 3710 Hampton Avenue. It's right at the corner of Chippewa and Hampton Avenue there. So
yeah, and that's a big meeting hall that you can accommodate a lot of people in that room. So there's plenty of room out there.
And so we're going to have, a little information table back there too about the freedom principle. But for the most part, we're just hoping we're going to have those panelists come in and just answer all questions. And it doesn't necessarily be on crime or earnings tax. It can be on the protecting the Second Amendment rights. The Board of Aldermen has passed numerous bills trying to take away people's right to be able to conceal and carry, or even open carry. And then there's going to be some other issues regarding economic development, probably. So,
well, and you've seen the Twitter or X traffic. Some of the more active leftist trolls in the St. Louis area. They're like, "Oh, I'm going to be there."
Well, and that's good. They'll just have to ask a question, and that's fine. And we did, when we were doing the preparing for the January one, we got several questions regarding transgender issues and things of that nature. So I expect to be some of those kinds of questions, particularly with regards to Senate Bill 49 and those types of things. But that's why we're having this.
Sounds good.
Yep. And so again, this Thursday, and with you say you haven't heard back from Steve Roberts though, but you have heard from Representative Butts.
Yeah.
So he's going to be there. So so this is one of those where, if the neighborhood the consortium, the neighborhoods are out there, they are probably going to be, I'm just guessing, not really asking about the R versus D stuff. They're going to be asking about, hey, here's what we need, here's what we're getting or not getting from the city, what's the state's role, what can be done with the city, at least to pressure them, because they're just basic services not being met right now. And a lot of that has to do with public safety and law enforcement.
Right. And we hope that that's the case, is that we're there, we're doing this to try to just give voters an opportunity to express their concerns to lawmakers in Jefferson City. Senator Koenig, a lot of these representatives and senators serve on the committees that have specific legislation dealing with St. Louis City. So they're very familiar with a lot of the issues and things. So we're not just doing this to promote individuals' political futures. We're here because they're explicitly responsible for the bills that are going through those committees. We just had a hearing last week on the St. Louis Police Control. That's obviously going to be a big one. So that's going. Those are going to be the types of things that we're hoping to learn about.
Now, I like these types of events because it kind of brings people together to sort of discuss their issues, and the town hall format I think is really good. But a lot of times, you deal with these conversations personally. You're talking with your friends, like, hey, and what ends up happening is it becomes very partisan. It's like, okay, I'm on this side and you're on that side, so we can't meet in between. How do you address just dealing with the principle of the thing as opposed to delving into all of the partisanship?
Well, and that's the reason why we did bring in the Democrats on this side, is that we're a conservative organization, but our goal is to help fix St. Louis City. And so, like I said, we have Donna Berenger, Steve Butts. They both voted last year to return police control back to the state. There were several supporters of the whole giving the governor the ability to appoint a special prosecutor to get rid of Kim Gardner, those types of things. So there is a lot of support from that. And what we're starting to see from people is that they're really getting fed up with what the city's doing. You know, the homeless issue, that whole thing really was the precipice for this whole need to do a town hall, is that they're frustrated by their political leaders in St. Louis City not doing anything or making things worse. And so, you know, you see pictures every day on Twitter or on Instagram or in Nextdoor of trash not being picked up and things. And so they're getting frustrated and they're not seeing anything being done. And, you know, they're asking Jefferson City to solve some of these problems. And, you know, again, we need bipartisan support for this. And so we're bringing the bipartisanship to St. Louis City.
Well, and to be fair, I mean, one of the reasons that people feel like they're not seeing anything get done is because there's nothing getting done.
Right.
Part of it. There's also that.
All right, so let's give out the information, because this is all on your website as well, right?
Yes, they can go to freedomprincipalmo.org, and they can actually submit a question online and avoid the line. And so doors will open around 5:30 to allow people to come in and fill out their forms and things. And then once the representatives and senators get there, we're going to start promptly at 6:30. And, you know, the main focus really is just going to be questions from the audience. There's not going to be any time for them to really give any kind of speeches. Like I said, we're not there to give people a platform. We're there to answer questions from the city residents or from the county residents who are concerned about things moving out.
Yeah, you're there to put the leaders. You're there to put the leaders on the spot.
Yeah,
you know, have them answer. Yeah, that's the way that it should be.
Yeah, and so St. Louis region is the economic engine for this state, and you know we're looking. You know, obviously over in Kansas City too, they're facing a lot of the same issues and things, and so you know our hope is that we're successful here in St. Louis City. Is that maybe in a few months or in maybe next session we'll take it over to Kansas City and try to address some of those issues. So I mean we're a grassroots statewide organization, so we're trying to bring, solutions to these problems, and the one way to do it is to give them an opportunity, give the voters an opportunity to hear from their legislators.
All right, and of course you can find more information on this at newstalkstl.com as well. All right, Byron, appreciate you being in. Let's do the website one more time.
Yeah, it's freedomprincipalmo.org.
And then Thursday,
February 22nd at the St. Louis Police Officers Association.
This Thursday.
This Thursday.
Yep. So you got time to go and put that on your calendar because there's a lot going on that needs to be addressed. And, hey, hold their feet to the fire. I don't care if it's a R or a D after their name. Hold their feet to the fire. That's what we're supposed to be doing.
Exactly.
All right, this is your chance to do it. All right, Byron, good to see you again. Thanks for coming in, man.
Thanks, Byron.
All right, a little bit of an update on some news things. Going to dump some news on you here in just a minute. And then speaking of this homeless problem and basic services not being met, 7:05. Okay, there's a situation in the city.
Yeah.
This is nuts.
This is crazy. I had not heard about this.
Crazy people set up a crazy, like, Oscar the Grouch kind of setup, and they've been there for years stinking up a residential area. Nobody will do a thing about it. So I'm going to tell you what's happening at 7:05. You tell me, what would you do? We'll talk about that just ahead here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
Like us on Facebook at News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson in the morning.
This is so stupid.
St. Louis's
Okay, I'm hanging up on you now.
place to talk. News Talk STL.
Question: do you know what vermiculite is? It is an insulation in the attics of hundreds of thousands of homes and public buildings. Looks like kitty litter, but often contains asbestos. Wellington Environmental is the largest company in the Midwest that can remove that hazard for you. Wellington has what is called the General, a powerful industrial vacuum that can suck vermiculite out of the attic. Hang on, there's something else you should know. Many of you might qualify for up to a $4,000 rebate. You should at least contact Wellington to see if you qualify. And here's something else. Wellington arrives at the time they give you, not sometime within 4 hours. 314-644-4930. 644-4930. WellingtonSTL.com. WellingtonSTL.com. Wellington Environmental. Your world. Cleaner, better, safer. Be well with Wellington.
Are you a natural leader driven by the desire to make a lasting impact? Is your deepest calling to be an elected official making a real difference? Now, picture yourself with the power to shape the future in St. Louis City. St. Louis needs your leadership now more than ever. The urgency is real. The Republican Party, City of St. Louis can help you file, be your guiding force, and support you during the campaign. Contact stlouisrepublicans.com and step into your destiny.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Bill O'Reilly here. Check out the O'Reilly Update this afternoon at 3:45. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
All right, some St. Louis residents are going to court to demand that the city actually does its job and remove squatters who are making life miserable for one neighborhood. I'm going to go in depth on that at 7:05.
Crazy.
It is nuts. And what's crazier to me is that nobody's actually done anything about it.
That's the really crazy part.
That's the crazy
Yeah.
part. So my question is going to be, what would you do? We'll talk about that just ahead here. By the way, let's see here. What we got going on here before I get to dump some news on you. Oh, by the way, News Talk STL, where people are loving the Flashback Fridays. And the reason I'm talking about Flashback Friday on a Tuesday is because you can tell us which 80s bump music you want to hear. And if you go to the newstalkstl.com Mike Ferguson in the Morning page, we actually put the list of the bump music that you hear every day here because, man, people are all about that stuff.
Oh, they love it.
And people ask us, what was that song?
Yep.
And now you can find out. And you can watch a video, too.
Yeah, there you go.
There got it all set up for you.
NewsTalkSTL.com. Then look for Mike Ferguson in the Morning. All right, Missouri lawmakers were considering bills to allow CCW permit holders to carry on public transit and carry in churches if the church allows it.
Okay, yeah.
They were. So House Majority Leader Jonathan Patterson has shelved that proposal, saying that it would be disrespectful to far-left Kansas City Mayor Quinton Lucas, who opposes them, and he opposed him anyway.
Sure.
But he opposing the measure, and of course, after speaking out after last week's shooting at the Chiefs championship celebration.
Right, because there's nothing quite as Republican as giving up your momentum and power to Democrats whenever they whine.
Right, because they're saying, but there's an emotional issue right now. And I'm looking at what happened. I'm saying, every time there is one of these shootings where people demonstrate they don't care about the laws and they don't care about your life, that's all the more reason you need to have the right to protect yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like, I don't understand the logic.
Okay, what's wrong with the Francis Howell School District's network? All schools in the district are closed at least today and tomorrow for sure because of what the administration is calling an unexpected activity that disrupted the system. Okay, so they're not saying it's a cyber attack. Or they're not saying it's a ransomware attack.
Not out loud.
No, but they did tell families that connected systems were taken down as a security measure for whatever the unexpected event was. So anything connected to it was taken offline as a security measure.
But apparently not their remote work system.
Yeah, I don't know. It says, in the meantime, the students are supposed to do remote learning, which I'm sure all the students are all about that. They're doing, geez. Okay. Oh, good Lord. Okay, let's see here.
Now, okay, quick question.
Yeah.
Why do you need technology to teach kids?
You don't.
Like how to read.
They're good tools. I mean, they're tools that can help, but they
it's a plus.
I mean, if the network goes down, why can't you still have kids in there with a book?
Right.
And a piece of paper or somebody with do they not have marker boards or chalkboards anymore?
Read chapter 3.
Yeah.
Do this math problem on the board. Sorry, I interrupted you. You're going to go on to a new story.
That's okay.
It's just, gosh. It boggles the mind,
Yeah.
The POS goes down. You take cash, you write it down.
Yep.
Okay, everybody goes. What's with schools?
This sounds like a cyber attack, and for some reason they don't want to say it.
And they don't want to go to work.
True.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-266-9102 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-266-9102. That's 800-266-9102. What do you have to lose? Call 800-266-9102. Again, 800-266-9102.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Defying international pressure to back down, Israel pursuing its drive to crush Hamas terrorists in Gaza. The Israelis ordering a new round of civilian evacuations from parts of Gaza City, while vowing to expand their anti-terror offensive in the southern city of Rafah. With the state's Republican primary just 4 days away, former President Trump and Nikki Haley focusing their campaign efforts on South Carolina today. Meanwhile, President Biden heading back to California, where White House correspondent Greg Clugston says Mr. Biden will be spending a few days.
The president is returning to the West Coast for a series of campaign fundraisers and one official White House event. He's scheduled to attend political events in Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Los Altos Hills tonight through Thursday. Before leaving Washington, he announced federal disaster assistance for people in San Diego County who were affected by a severe storm and flooding last month.
And much of the state remains under flash flood watches or warnings today as another rain-laden atmospheric river sweeps across California. The 80th annual convention of the National Religious Broadcasters Association opening today in Nashville. Ministries from all over the world are attending the conference, and NRB President Troy Miller spoke with Tom Tradip of Town Hall News.
Does it say something about the state of the world with so many conflicts going on in the Middle East and elsewhere, and that people are turning more and more to religious broadcasters?
Oh, absolutely. I think our international partners, we'll have over 40 countries represented, and our partners are seeing a tremendous amount of growth around the world because people need hope. There's so much despair in the world today. The gospel is the only thing that really brings true hope to them.
NRB 2024 continues all this week in Nashville. Former President Trump to address the delegates on Thursday. Watching Wall Street, Dow futures down 131 points. NASDAQ futures off 79. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Relief factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
Find a reason to be here that's bigger than you are.
From the creators of Jesus Revolution.
Something about that little girl. I think I'm supposed to help.
Based on the inspiring true story.
My name is Sharon. I'm good at plenty of things. Taking no for an answer ain't one.
Find your purpose. Make a difference.
You want to go on an adventure?
Yeah.
Ordinary Angels. Starring 2-time Academy Award winner Hilary Swank and Alan Richson. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. In theaters February.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Boy, this sweet stretch of weather continues for a couple more days here. Sunny and warmer for your Tuesday. 63 this afternoon with a south wind at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Clear tonight. Wednesday morning, not quite as chilly as the last few mornings. The low at 42. Warmest air of the week arrives tomorrow. Wednesday's high 67 under increasing cloud cover. Be ready for rain and a few thunderstorms on Thursday. Most of that coming down in the morning. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Senior Memorial. Give Benjamin Schaefer a call at 314-866-8886 or visit memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection.
Tony Colombo here, reminding you to visit my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton before your next trip into the great outdoors. For decades, Bluff City Outdoors has covered all the needs for area fishermen, and they'll always have all the best bait, tackle, and gear for your next trip on the water. And now they cover all your bow hunting needs, including their state-of-the-art indoor archery range and techno hunt system, open every day for you to come shoot, or you can join a league. Follow Bluff City Outdoors on Facebook and learn more at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
So we finally got the parts for the time machine.
Classic Kicks Country is streaming now. Hear all your new country favorites from the 90s. Streaming as it happened in the 90s. Classic Kicks. Download the Classic Kicks app from the App Store. Online at ClassicKicks.com. Or enable the Classic Kicks skill on Alexa. 90s New Country streaming now. This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com. Mike Ferguson.
You play ball like a girl!
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I triple dog Darius!
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice, drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
Okay, this is one of those what would you do conversations.
Yes.
This is where I'm going to go. I'm telling you right now that after all this information we give you, the question is, what would you do? 314-912-1019, or you can obviously comment to us on social media as well.
And this one's got us fired up a little bit, I think.
Oh, my gosh. And here's the thing is, I'm kind of blaming the victims a little bit. On this, too. And I'm saying that up front. I'm kind of blaming the victims on that. All right, some crazy people set up a tarp tent dwelling in front of people's houses. They are literally stinking up part of a neighborhood. I mean, it's like an Oscar the Grouch setup.
Well, it's worse because at least Oscar Grouch was contained to just the one trash can.
Right.
This is a gigantic. It's like a homeless complex essentially that's set up on the corner of a street.
Yeah, for two people. The government's not helping. So what would you do? Apparently, for some South City residents, the answer is file a lawsuit after years, literally years of this nonsense. Okay, I just posted Channel 2's story on this on the Rumble chat box. Can we get that up on our other social media too?
Yeah, it's on.
It's already on there.
It's
okay,
already
great,
on
fantastic.
Twitter and on Facebook.
Awesome. Okay, so here's what's going on. Well, I tell you, I'll get that in a second. By the way, an area lawmaker has a brilliant idea, and by brilliant, I mean stupid. At 7:20, I'm going to talk about the bill to make it illegal for mechanics to fix some cars. Literally to make it illegal for them to do their vocation if that car has an expired tag.
So stupid.
It's really stupid. All right, I'll talk about that at 7:20. All right, so why are the rights of crazy squatters overriding the rights of homeowners in the city? Okay, so if you look at the story, Channel 2 is the only place I found it, but they had some cameras out there, and this is happening at the corner of, let me make sure I'm getting the exact.
Spring and Chippewa.
Yep, Spring and Chippewa, yep. And so
it's not just any corner, by the way. This is a major thoroughfare.
Yeah.
Chippewa, you've got thousands of cars going by there every day, so it's not like it's a secluded neighborhood corner that you would never see.
And it's just off of Chippewa, so most of this is on Spring. It's there's chairs that are like probably taken from dumpsters and buckets, and then these tarps that are the top of it, and trash cans, and this Sudanese couple who are clearly nuts have been there for over 3 years, going on 4 years. There's literally like a sewer line right there on the, the sewer line there on the edge of the street on the curb.
Yeah, the grate.
That's their toilet.
Yeah.
And so
it's not made for that, guys.
No, it's not.
Man.
And so they have been there literally, like I said, about 4 years. So 314-912-1019. What would you do? So the residents there, including there's one house where this is basically up on the easement.
It's right on their corner. Yeah,
it's right on their corner. And their lawyer is Beavis Schock. I actually know Beavis. He is suing the city on their behalf, trying to order them to do something because they've called the health department, they've called City Hall, they've called police. Everybody comes out and they say, well, we've offered them help and they just won't take it. And they're leaving them there on the street to mess things up for everybody else. Here's part of what Beavis told Channel 2.
Filth everywhere, it smells, it's disgusting. It makes their front of their house unusable. If they have a lovely front porch, they can't use it.
I mean, and just looking at the pictures, you could almost smell the picture.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The video.
Yeah, and part of the discussion in that video is just the the quoting of law that says shall be declared a nuisance. At least two different sorts of instances. One in that they are causing problems for the neighbors, and one in that they're causing problems for the city's sewer system through their blocking there. And then I think there's another one because they're blocking access to the little disabled
There's
ramp,
a ramp. There's a ramp for one of the homes that they're blocking.
Yeah, so just. There's clear evidence that they are breaking the law, and usually what happens is when you break the law, you do so willfully and you do it repeatedly. The authorities come out and they either fine you or they remove you or it escalates from there. That's usually what happens. But 4 years,
nothing.
When we had talked about it in the past, Mike, you always brought up the fact of where. Yeah, we had discussed this. Where are the alder critters in this situation?
Yeah.
There's got to be an alderman or an alderwoman in this area who should be able to get to the bottom of this and get some sort of resolution, but it doesn't seem to be happening.
And the alder, I don't even know who represents that area. I'm not sure who that is, but they've been called, and city officials have been out there and they've written their reports, but well, they just won't accept our help. Who cares?
They won't accept your help.
Yeah. By the way, in case people are saying, well, they have rights, and it's no,
they don't.
Beavis was asked about that as well, and he goes, hey, wait a minute, the city can move quickly and evict nuisance people.
But when Kamala Harris came, they cleaned them all out of home base, City Hall. So they absolutely have the power to move people out. I hope this case becomes a model of how you attack them. Make the judge order the city to do their own job.
Okay, so here's, again, let me go back to the premise of this discussion. What would you do? Because I am telling you that if you picture this in front of your house, I am telling you that if the city, whoever, comes out and says, well, they wouldn't take our help. We tried. We don't know what to do. You know what's happening? I'm taking it down myself.
Yes.
And I am going to have whatever I need to protect myself, but that's coming down and they're leaving from in front of my house. And the city may say, well, you can't do that. No, I'm doing it.
These are my rights.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing, life, liberty, and property. Those are the things.
I've got money. I can hire a lawyer. I'll fight you.
It didn't even have to get this bad.
No.
That's the thing. And that's kind of, I think, where you were talking about blaming the victim a little bit. Because the thing is, look, that's not happening in front of my house for 4 months, let alone 4 years. That's crazy. I might start with the hose just to sort of kind of annoy them away if possible. But if that doesn't work, we're escalating to the shovel real quick.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that's what amazes me the most are two things. One, that the city, and there was video footage of like the health department coming out and they're trying to talk to these people who are clearly nuts, and they keep talking about, well, they're refugees from Sudan. I don't care.
Yeah.
They could be immigrants from Mars. I don't care. It doesn't matter. You're causing a problem and violating the rights of other people. People have to literally cannot access a public sidewalk. You've got to drive and walk around them on the street. They're literally crapping in a public area, underneath the tarp into the sewer lines, which it's not made for, the water lines, it's not made for that. And people, literally that house right there where they're affecting the most directly, I've read multiple reports saying they can't use part of their own house or their property because it smells so bad.
Yeah.
So there's one part where the city's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. We've tried, we've offered, they just won't take help. Who cares?
Right.
The second thing, though, is, hey, everybody there on Spring Street, hey, everybody there on Chippewa, why aren't you moving them?
Seriously.
Why aren't you using force to rip it down? You have somebody get somebody's, your cousin's or brother's buddy's old pickup truck that you don't mind getting a little dirty, and you just start yanking the stuff, throwing it in there, and then go take it to the city dump.
Yes.
And then you dump it.
Yes, absolutely.
And you know what? You run them off. I mean, if the city won't do the job, You do it. It's your neighborhood. It's your home. It's your property. What are you scared of?
Right. I mean, I appreciate that they started with the compassions. Like, yes, refugees. Yes, they need help. And you offered the help. And that's the thing. Like, once the help is refused for like, a couple weeks or something like that, and they're still sitting out there doing crazy things and causing a problem. Okay, now all bets are off. You've made yourself my enemy. I wanted to help you. I wanted to be your friend. You made yourself my enemy now. So. Right. I'm sorry, but I'm going to protect my property.
And there are multiple reports where the city is saying, you know what, we're definitely going to try to get them moved so we can offer them services. We're going to get them housing and all this kind of stuff. It's like, listen, for all I care, stick them on the back of a truck and drive them outside the city limits, maybe go east, drop them off in the middle. East. And then, don't bring them my way.
Make them Illinois' problem.
Make them Illinois' problem.
It's not that far away.
Not that far away.
But, I mean, as much as we call out the city government for not doing anything or driving up and showing how impotent they are with doing things, I'm also going to call out the neighborhood a little bit.
Yes.
I am telling you, you do that on my street, and I live in a deep blue Richmond Heights area where you got, the virtue signaling signs and all that kind of, I'm telling you, you tried that. We're going to tear it down.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and I'll be the first to do it. I will rip it down with them in there. And if they throw a fit, hey, it's on, man.
Right.
But you don't have a right to do that.
Yeah. So what are you doing, guys, as you're listening to this? We got the posts on social media and on Facebook and Twitter. Just let us know. And you can comment also in the Rumble chat box.
Yeah, there's a couple of these I can't read on the air. I'm just saying there's a couple that I'm saying is that I'm not saying I condone it, but I understand it to steal from Chris Rock.
Right.
I can't read it. But, for instance, Rebecca says I would remove the garbage. Righty says, hey, 24-hour sprinkler mounted on the roof with occasional short in landscape lighting. Well, I'm not going that far, but you know what? Water, of course, these people could probably use a bath, but spraying them or whatever. But I mean, I just walk up and start ripping the stuff down. It's literally like tarps, which probably were found in some dumpster somewhere.
Yeah.
Like a tarp you'd put over the back of your pickup truck bed or whatever to keep stuff dry, or over your wood supply. Start ripping it, throwing it into some truck, and just take their stuff away and put it in the dump.
Yep.
You're violating their property. That's their property.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
It's not.
No.
And they've shown no concern or care for anybody else. Obviously, they're nuts. So I'm trying to be compassionate to the mental health people. But after this much time, I don't care what your needs are at this point.
Yeah.
You're the people who pay for everything. The people who own the property. The people who are there are their rights are being violated. And you just do not have a human right to do what you're doing. And the fact that the city has allowed it to go on shows you how absolutely incompetent St. Louis City Hall is. And you look at why is City Hall having all these problems? That's a microcosm of it. They can't even get people literally off of an Oscar the Grouch compound off the street for years.
Yeah.
And they say, well, they just won't accept our help.
Yeah.
Well, then
So
move them by
stupid.
force. Get a bulldozer.
It's so stupid. I don't understand the excuses for this.
Yeah. All right. 314-912-1019. Got some thoughts on that? From the incompetence of St. Louis City Hall to one of the dumbest legislative ideas I've ever heard in my life. I'll tell you what that
You don't like
is.
this one, Mike?
I mean, it's laughable. Sorry, it's not going to get enacted into law, but the fact that an elected official thought, oh, this is a good idea is amusing to me. So got some thoughts on this. Let me know. Send it to us on social media. Or better yet, give us a call, 314-912-1019, right here, 1019-941 News Talk STL.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your cousin Rob.
Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
On the next
Larry Connors, USA.
Hillary Clinton is making a bold, shocking statement about Trump if he should beat Joe Biden.
Larry Connors, USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Does your life insurance plan include living benefits, hearing, diabetic supplies, teledoc service, discounts on urns, caskets, tombstones? Larry Connors here. I suggest you call Benjamin Schaefer at Senior Memorial.
Call 314-866-8886 or visit memorialplans.com. Memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection.
Tony Colombo here for Cadre Asset Management. A cadre is defined as a small group of people specially trained for a particular purpose or profession, and that is the role that Cadre Asset Management can play in your financial journey. Learn more about how they can help secure your financial future by following Cadre Asset Management on Facebook, or just go to cadreassetmgmt.com.
Cadre Asset Management is a Missouri-based independent advisory firm licensed under and securities and investment advisory services offered through Founders Financial Securities, LLC, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC.
The Freedom Principle and News Talk STL invite you to a special St. Louis City Town Hall, Thursday, February 22nd at the St. Louis Police Officers Association on Hampton Avenue. Join moderator Tim Jones and expert panelists for a crucial discussion, building a better, safer St. Louis City. Learn what legislators are doing in Jefferson City to protect and build a safer community for all citizens. The St. Louis City Town Hall is free and open to the public. For more information, visit freedomprinciplemmo.org.
News Talk STL. Always streaming on your smart speaker, our mobile app, or newstalkstl.com.
Hi, it's Dan Bongino here, and I'm proud to be on News Talk STL every weekday from 11 to 2. Right now, you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
You know, as cover songs go, this was one of the better cover songs.
Mm-hmm. Nice job by the Black Crowes.
Yes. Absolutely. All right, 7:20 right now. Okay. This is so funny. Deputizing your mechanic and putting them in between fixing your car and enforcing expired tags. The latest dumb idea from Jefferson City.
I'm still curious as to why people are coming up with these new proposals to deal with temp tags when we already have a law that's just gonna age out all of the temp tags eventually.
Hey, it's Temp Tag Tuesday.
It is Temp Tag Tuesday.
Right. Yeah, that's
wow.
right. That's right. That's right.
Do we always have a temp tag story on Tuesdays? It feels like we do.
The way that the law's written, though, it's not even just temp tags.
Oh, really?
I mean, if you fail to renew your tags.
Oh, wow. Okay.
As well. So we'll get to that here in a second. Democrats have depended on union bosses and union money in elections for years. Nobody disputes that. That's not a secret. To keep that gravy train rolling, though, union bosses need to grow their membership, whether workers want it or not. We're going to talk about that at 7:35. Mark Mix from National Right to Work going to be with us here on News Talk STL. All right, 7:21 right now. Okay, so an area state representative, Gretchen Bangert, she wants to make it illegal for your mechanic to work on some cars. Basically, she thinks your mechanic should be part of enforcing the expired tags thing.
Right. I don't
It's
like
so stupid.
I don't like the idea of deputizing people by statute.
Oh my goodness. And finding them if they don't
Yeah.
go along with it. So here's what it is. It's House Bill 1507 if you want to look it up.
Right.
It one of the telltale signs in the legislature in Missouri, at least, if you do not have a whole bunch of co-sponsors, it ain't going anywhere.
Sure, yeah.
Not even other Democrats have signed on to this as of this morning when I looked at it.
Right.
So it would make it illegal. This bill would make it illegal for your mechanic to take your business and fix something on your car if the tags are expired, whether it's a temp tag or regular tag. The only exception is they'd have to prove that they're fixing something on the car to make it basically to overcome something that caused it to fail the inspection.
Right, an inspection violation.
Right.
Yeah.
So if something is failed the inspection or would fail the inspection, they would have to prove to the government, well, no, I fixed it because it would have failed inspection or it did fail inspection. So basically it would fine the mechanic's shop, whatever it is, $100 per violation, and that violation being fixing your car.
Oh my gosh. It's so silly.
You drive in with an expired temp tag.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter if it expired yesterday or 3 years ago or whatever the case is. Under this proposal, that mechanic would have to go, sorry, it's illegal for me to change the filters. It's illegal for me to fix that thing that makes your window go up and down. Illegal for me to put those windshield wipers on. It's illegal for me to fix that muffler. I mean, it's illegal for me to, otherwise they're going to fine me.
Yeah, that's it's a step too far. And again, I keep going back to the fact that we have a law on the books now that's going to, and I'm not sure if it's in effect. I think it came into effect this year, didn't it?
It should have come into effect in January. You're talking about the one where you go buy a car at a dealership.
Yes.
And you just pay the taxes right there on the spot.
Right.
And then you're given your tags.
Right, exactly. So because of that law, eventually, everybody who currently has an an expired tag and they haven't paid their taxes, they're going to have to rectify that in order to get the new vehicle,
right?
And therefore comply with the statute. So all of those temp tags are going away. It's just a matter of time.
Right.
It's just a matter of time. So why are all these new enforcement mechanisms are being brought up?
Let's talk about the deficient thinking.
Okay.
As to why this is being brought.
All right.
To follow up what you just said.
Sure.
Let's talk about the deficient thinking. Somebody, and let's talk about what this is. It's they're angry because people aren't paying the taxes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
First of all, the state government has more money and knows what to do with right now.
Right.
When they're saying, "Oh boy, we got to really, watch the budget. Things are lean." No, they're not.
Mm-hmm.
You're flush with money. You should be more responsible right now. You can set the state into a better thing. But you know what? The property taxes, and these are sales taxes, so we're not even talking about the property taxes.
Right.
But the local municipalities are like, hey, when you don't pay your temp tags, we don't get the money.
Right.
It doesn't matter where you buy a car.
Mm-hmm.
Wherever you live is where the tax goes to.
Right.
I live in Richmond Heights. I bought a car in where's Lufew's Kia? Is that the Creve Coeur or Maryland Heights or one?
Mm-hmm.
But wherever that is, that city did not get the sales tax.
Right.
Richmond Heights did.
Right.
When I bought it, even though they had nothing to do with the sale, nothing whatsoever.
Which is a whole different
Well,
story.
yeah, whatever. So that's what they're angry about, is that it's all about the money.
Right.
Okay. And so in this case right here, you've got an elected official, state representative, who says, you know what? We're going to squeeze them out of the marketplace. Government's going to insert itself into a private transaction.
Mm-hmm.
You go to Dobbs or, Telly or wherever you're going to go to get something fixed, and you're by law going to tell them you're not allowed to take that business. You're not allowed to do that business because, they haven't paid us our tribute first. There was a guy from a mechanic shop that was interviewed on one of these. I think it was Channel 4, and he said he estimates about 10% in South City. About 10% of his clientele comes in with expired tags.
That's pretty sizable.
That's 10%. Yeah. Can you imagine government saying we are going to reduce your business by 10%?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
We're taking away 10% of your business because we didn't get paid first.
Right.
That's government first thinking.
That's a very interesting way of looking at it. Yeah, absolutely. That would be the effect of this, is that it would it would have the same delayed effect, I guess, if you think about it this way, of people eventually having to comply.
Mm-hmm.
But in the meantime, instead of the government footing the bill, they're forcing the shops to foot the bill.
Right. So what is the realistic response if this ridiculous, but which, by the way, I don't think is going to become law.
No.
I just want to point out how authoritarian some people are. It's like, government isn't getting the money, so we're going to find a way to, force get in the middle of a private sector, unrelated thing to try to, smoke out the offenders here.
Right.
What's the natural result that comes from saying you're not allowed to fix that car, or we're going to fine you?
Black market.
Yep. That is what history tells us.
Yes.
Is that what happens is, okay, there's an entrance at the back of the auto repair dealership. You're going to go around there. They're going to do it after hours. You're only paying cash. There's no receipt, nothing involved.
Right. Yep.
Because they don't want to get fined, or the mechanics themselves just take their tools back to their house and it's like, hey, not allowed to do it here. Here's where I live, and they start setting up shop literally in their neighborhood.
Well,
that's what's going to happen.
Well, and here's another question: what is the state's enforcement mechanism on the mechanic? Because the thing is, it's like, okay,
$100 per violation.
No, how do they enforce that?
Oh, well, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, okay,
are you going to have an undercover agent?
How do you know that I took this temp tag vehicle and I actually fixed it? How would you know that? You would either you'd have to send people in with fake temp tags to try to get cars fixed, or you would have a reporting requirement to say, okay, you have to write down everybody's tags on the thing, and you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So it becomes a self-destructive thing because it creates a bureaucracy that siphons off the tax money you were trying to collect to begin with.
Okay, I understand that there are people who get fired up about, and this isn't a Republican or Democrat or conservative or liberal thing. There are people who get mad at the temp tax. I think it's funny.
I mean, I kind of get mad. I kind of get a little. I do the come on, man.
Yeah, I know, because you're like, hey, I got to do it, so you got to do it.
Right.
It's valid.
That's
get
where
it.
I am.
I totally get it.
Mhm.
Now they're going to pay fines and fees that accrue on this, so eventually they're going to pay a lot more.
Yes.
I just think it's hysterical because this is a St. Louis thing.
It has become so.
There are temp tag, there are occasionally an expired temp tag somewhere, but not like St. Louis. Listen, I've been all over the country. We've got the market cornered on expired temp tags. I saw one again the other day. It was like a year and a half expired. It just cracks me up. I mean, I'm like, you're going to end up paying a lot more for that, down the road, but people really get fired up for it. And so now you've got a state rep who basically says, okay, we're just going to commandeer private enterprise to try to force them to come in compliance with the law.
Is that a new St. Louis question now? You're like, where'd you went to high school, and then how old are your temp tags? Right? Because I mean, it's funny because Janet said, you know what, that question is really how rich were your parents? That's actually what that question means. So then, how old are your temp tags? Is like how many taxes have you been avoiding?
You know what's funny is I saw one that one I said it was like a year and a half expired.
Mhm.
It was an Audi.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Those Audi. How do you say it?
Audi.
Audi. Yeah.
Those aren't cheap. Those aren't cheap vehicles.
And it was not like an old, like used up Audi from forever ago. It was a new one.
Oh yeah. Janet got cut off on the highway by a white Mercedes with a temp tag on it. so it's just like, it just is. It just is what it is, man. An expired temp tag, I should say. It was new back in 22.
There you go. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I mean, I tell you, yeah, I have actually forgotten to, renew my tags once or twice in my life. I mean, then I'm going out to the car and I'm like, oh crap, that's expired. I gotta get that in there.
Mhm.
But this actually would, in theory, apply to your actual tag.
Yes.
Like my tags expire in 25.
Little sticker.
Yeah, the little sticker. Mine expire in 2025. So if I forget and I don't renew them, then in theory, if I go into some car shop and say, hey, man, my muffler's making some noise, they're going to go, well, you're on your own, man.
Sorry, your sticker's the wrong color.
We can't help you. Yeah, nope, can't do it.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. What happens to so many people when they get elected to office and suddenly start thinking dumb ideas are good ideas?
You'd think that you'd have the brainstorm board. You know what I mean? And that would be in your office. It'd be in a dark corner of your office.
Yeah.
You have the brainstorm board. Here are the laws that I'm thinking of that might improve life in the state. And then you whittle down from there, because the brainstorm board is where all the garbage ideas go. You might find one diamond in the rough there, but generally speaking, it's all garbage. You should stay in your office.
Unions, money, elections. Let's talk about that right around 7:35 here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Boy, this sweet stretch of weather continues for a couple more days here. Sunny and warmer for your Tuesday. 63 this afternoon with a south wind at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Clear tonight. Wednesday morning, not quite as chilly as the last few mornings. The low at 42. Warmest air of the week arrives tomorrow. Wednesday's high 67 under increasing cloud cover. Be ready for rain and a few thunderstorms on Thursday. Most of that coming down in the morning. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
I like supporting local companies that give back to the community. For more than 40 years, Vincent's Jewelers has helped raise more than $1.5 million for local charities. So I'm personally asking that when you're shopping for jewelry, give Vincent's a chance. And in turn, Vincent's will give even more to our community. On Olive, just east of 270. New specials every day on vincentsjewelers.com or Vincent's Facebook.
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
Many believe Larry Connor's USA is just about politics, just promoting Trump. And let me correct those views. Yes, LCUSA has a lot of politics. Nowadays, what doesn't involve politics in some fashion? As far as promoting Trump, that depends on what he's doing or not doing. I encourage you, listeners, to think for yourselves. always question, even me. There are times that I praise Trump. There are other times I condemn him for remarks or actions. Again, don't follow anyone blindly. My main mission is to promote patriotism. If you are a patriot, truly love this country, despite our flaws, scarred history, well, you and I have a lot in common. Do not let political differences divide us. And that same goes for you and your family and your friends. If you are polar opposites, talk about things you have in common. Protecting children, trying to be a better person, maybe share a good recipe for chili. But in the end, if you and your polar opposites are patriots, that's more than just a start. That's a great start, and hopefully with a patriotic ending.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
Hello, this is Chad Clayman with Clayman Group, KLAMEN Group.com, where we buy houses direct in as-is condition with no middleman involved. I recently bought a house from somebody that was embarrassed to let me in the door. There was stuff all over the place, and the entire house smelled like smoke. However, we were definitely able to see the potential. We gave them a great cash offer that they were very happy with. So if you have a house that isn't in the best shape, maybe in some disrepair, we're interested in making you an as-is cash offer. Please reach out today, KLAMEN Group.com.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. Doug and Safe Money Radio is on 3 times every weekend, but in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com or call 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
Hey, it's Tony Colombo for the cleaning pros at Zero Res who are spreading the love for the month of February. We've trusted Zero Res with our home for years, and right now they have an incredible offer. Just book a cleaning in the month of February and mention the Colombo special, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $119, plus they'll throw in a free hallway, and you can take $50 off an air duct cleaning. Just mention the Colombo special when you call 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
News, analysis, opinion.
If they're saying you're not competent to stand trial, how can you be president of the United States?
If you think I don't have the energy level or the mental acuity, then you know.
101.9 and 94.1.
This is beyond politics. This is about the country now.
News Talk STL.
Hey there, Tim Jones here. Make sure you join me and my buddy Chris Arps this afternoon from 4 until 6 p.m. right here on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL. Right now, let's get back to more of Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Little Pretenders?
Since we were talking about Chrissy Hind yesterday.
Yeah, that's right.
This reminds me of Rush.
It does indeed.
Like I can't hear the song without waiting for the dulcet tones over the golden EIB microphone to come through. So,
oh my goodness, it was just what was it, 3 or 4 years ago? Man,
he died.
He died 3 or 4 years ago. I think his anniversary of his passing wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
And of course, he's a lot of people don't realize he's buried here in the area. Here at over at JB, over at Jefferson Barracks.
Yep.
Worked a lot in Missouri.
He's out of Cape Girardeau, wasn't he?
He's out of Cape Girardeau, and of course, he actually worked in for the Kansas City Royals for a little while.
Oh, right.
As well, but he worked for a lot of stations in the area. Launched his career.
He tried to get on KMOX, by the way.
He tried.
Yeah, he submitted his tape and resume, and I guess Bob Hyland said, "No, I don't think so."
Yeah.
Didn't see the potential,
this guy's going nowhere.
He didn't see any potential there.
No. That's all right. Okay, so the left is depending on unions again this year for their election success. I mean, that's a standard playbook. That's not a big secret.
As per usual.
That's why debates like right to work are back in the spotlight. So we're talking about that right now. 7:37 right now. Don't forget, News Talk STL in Freedom Principle, Missouri. We are partnering for a town hall on Thursday. Our conversation with Byron Keelin going to be up on our podcast here in a few hours. Tim Jones, afternoon host and former Speaker of the House, going to be the moderator for this event. A lot of local lawmakers, Republican and Democrat, are going to be taking your questions. That is happening Thursday. Doors open at 5:30. I think the event starts around 6:30. I would get there a little bit early. Good networking, but also you want to get the parking spots a little bit early. It's probably going to be a really big turnout of conservatives and liberals just saying, listen, things have gotten to a critical mass point in the city we got to figure out some solutions, and that's what Thursday is designed to do. So find more information at newstalkstl.com. All right, Mark Mix from National Right to Work joins us right now. Mark, hey, thanks for being on the show. I think it's the first time you've been on the show since the new year, so it's good to chat with you again here. Okay, so the election season, crazy season already in place. Not a big question that the union money, and I'm being real careful how I'm saying this, Mark, the union money, the union bosses, they're all in, for the left on the Democratic side, regardless of what the workers themselves are actually wanting. But in order for them to maintain that leverage of power, they need the numbers involved, and that involves the policy of people being able to opt out or opt into unions. So that's why it sounds like a lot of the union and the labor policy the Biden administration is pushing is in place because they've got to, I guess, scratch the back of the union bosses if they want their back scratched with, the campaign donations and everything that goes with it. I don't mean to make it that simplistic, but that's kind of the basic synopsis, isn't it?
Well, it is, and good morning to you, Mike and Gabe and Stell. Good to be with you. Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, it's always election season, though, Mike. It never ceases, and there's always politics involved in everything. And this time, to your point, I mean, the Biden administration has clearly put their thumb on the scale in favor of union officials, not necessarily rank-and-file workers. In fact, we got some interesting news just over the weekend about his kind of pulling back on the EV transition, the electric vehicle transition, that is really a big problem for auto workers across the country, particularly at the Little Three, GM, Ford, and Stellantis. I mean, they admit that 40% less labor is needed to build EVs, and the Biden administration comes out with this mandate that's saying, it's got to be 60% EV production by 2030. Well, over the weekend, the New York Times and the Washington Post report that they're kind of pulling back because they're worried, to your point, Mike, that the auto workers are pretty nervous about this guy, and notwithstanding the fact that the United Auto Workers Union, 14 executive committee members, including Sean Fain, the new president, endorsed Joe Biden. And after that endorsement, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, he went on the air and said, let me be clear, a great majority of our workers are not going to be voting for Biden. So you figure out what that means.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I was going to touch on, Mark, is the idea that there's become a much larger separation, I think, between the leadership and the rank and file in terms of the labor movement of late, and I'm wondering, how that's affecting the legislative efforts now to stop the requirement for union membership.
Yeah, I mean, so basically, let me tack on to that is okay. So are is the left, the politicians, going to listen to the bosses or the workers?
Well, the politicians, Gabe, that's a great point, and the politicians will listen to the union officials because they're the ones that control the money, unfortunately. I mean, rank-and-file workers, really, one of the major obstacles of compulsory unionism is that forced political conformity that comes with being forced to pay dues or fees to a union in order to get or keep a job. That money obviously is fungible. A lot of it translates into politics. In fact, every 2 years, we do a study of what the union officials themselves report what they spend on politics and lobbying. It's over $2 billion. Now, if you calculate that based on some other views, like the view of the United States Supreme Court saying that everything that government unions do is political, so every penny they spend is designed to redress government and affect public policy, then you get to $10 billion to $12 billion every year, every 2 years on politics. And we hear about the Soroses and the Kochs and the Zuckerbergs and all those folks. Those guys are pikers compared to the billions that organized labor has to spend to keep their privilege and to keep their power. And that means most politicians side with the union officials and not with rank-and-file workers.
Hey, good morning, Mark. Stal Ponticus here. So we saw labor agreements a few months ago that included some big pay raises, and then the layoffs began. And I've heard folks comments from Wall Street about, well, you know what, yeah, the stock market is way up. Well, you know what? The stock market loves companies that lay off people because then the profits wind up showing up. So where do the companies go from here? Because it seems like they're stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Well, I hope they maintain themselves, but you're right. I mean, UPS is laying off workers. The Little Three are laying off workers. GM's announcing some stuff, a slowdown in the electric vehicle production. But, one of the things, Stel, that's really important about this so-called historic agreement, when you look at the non-union automobile workers in the right-to-work states, in Tennessee and North Carolina and Alabama and Mississippi and South Carolina, The top wages for those workers, the non-union workers, is about $35.32 an hour. The wage now with the new UAW contract for all UAW represented workers is only about $32.32 an hour with the quote-unquote historic contract. And when you take out union dues, you're down to about $31 an hour for unionized automobile workers. So there's one thing we know about employers that go to right-to-work states to produce automobiles and produce tires and produce airplanes is they take care of their employees for the most part. And if they don't, nothing stops those workers from organizing and unionizing. But up to now, none of those big companies have done it. And that's why the Biden administration, to Mike, back to your point, is putting the thumb on the scale using federal tax dollars, whether it be incentivizing battery plants or saying to automobile manufacturers, if you want to get any of the money that federal government's handing out, you probably should be neutral in your stance toward unions, or you should disagree to a card check unionization when the union tells you they have a majority. So the administration's working overtime. I don't know if they get paid time and a half, but they're working overtime to make sure that they can deliver, rank and file workers and certainly the union officials' money come November.
Yeah, one of my baseball teammates is actually getting screwed by the UPS layoff and the union restrictions on him. So they laid him off, but then they said, well, you can make money by working this ridiculous shift in order to take some leftover. He was explaining it to us, and there are things he's not allowed to do to go work for somebody else because it's a violation of the union rules. So much of it has to do with control of the workers, but they have to pay into it. We're visiting with Mark Mix from National Right to Work. Okay, so where do we go from here? I mean, obviously, elections matter. Elections have consequences. But if you're a worker, you're in one of these unions, and you just hear the union boss say, yeah, we know that maybe a majority of our workers disagree with us, but this is what we're doing anyway. Do you have any recourse whatsoever?
Yeah, you do, but it's not easy. I mean, if you're a public sector worker, a government worker, you have complete recourse. We won that Janus decision. I think we all talked about that a while back in 2018, that basically said no government worker anywhere in America can be forced to pay dues or fees to a union to get or keep a job and work for government. On the private sector side, though, Mike, it's a little more difficult. We won a Supreme Court case back in 1998 called the Beck decision, which basically said if you're a private sector worker, you can object to the political spending, but in order to do that, you have to resign union membership. You're still forced to pay fees to keep your job in a non-right-to-work state, but you give up your right to vote on your contract. You give up the right to vote on union elections. You give up the right to reform the union from the inside. You have to basically say, I give up all of my workplace rights to protect my political rights. And in order to protect my workplace rights, I have to give up my political rights. And so that's kind of the conundrum or the Hobson's choice that workers are faced with in the private sector. There is relief, but it comes with a price, and that price is a price that no individual that's forced to associate with someone should be forced to pay. But unfortunately, that's the law, and until we can change that in the United States Congress, workers are still going to be faced with that decision. Do I let them use my money for political causes I oppose and give up my workplace rights, or do I protect my workplace rights and give up my political rights and my ideological rights? It's a choice no one should have to make.
Okay, so is this just a federal issue, Mark, or is this something that needs to be layered with state laws as well?
Well, the Janus decision covers everybody across the country. So no government worker, whether it be in Missouri or California or New York or Maine or wherever, can be compelled to pay dues or fees to a union at all. In the private sector, obviously, if you're in one of the 26 right-to-work states, you can't be compelled to pay dues or fees to the union. But in Missouri and the 23 other non-right-to-work states, you have to make that choice between your workplace rights and your political rights, your ideological rights. And so we can solve that legislatively. Obviously, when the Supreme Court ruled in Janus that no worker, that the public sector workers have constitutional First Amendment rights when it comes to issues like these, we think that private sector workers should have the same constitutional First Amendment rights. But I think the court's going to say, look, the statute is there. This law was passed back in the 1930s, and until the Congress does something about it, we would let it stand at this point where workers are continued to force to pay dues or fees to get or keep a job in America. It's wrong. It's always been wrong. It's public opinions against it. Most rank-and-file workers oppose it, but union officials, they enjoy it, and that's why they have to spend so much on politics to protect that type of privilege.
So, Mark, any thoughts from you regarding California Senator Barbara Lee, who wants $50 an hour minimum wage?
You know, that's funny you mentioned that. I was on C-SPAN, Washington Journal, one day, and I was debating against a union official, and somebody called in from California. They said, look, I want you two just to shut up and listen to this question. If you could wave a wand, what would you make the minimum wage? And so, interestingly enough, the C-SPAN guy went to the union guy first, and he took out a slide rule and started doing calculations. Del, I know you know what a slide rule is. I do too.
I do too.
He took out a slide rule and he came up with this $8.68 an hour should be the minimum wage. This was way back when. And I said, how about $25 an hour? And it's like there was this guffaws across the board, and they were like, how dare you? That's ridiculous. It's absurd. I said, no, if your point is that you can set a wage that will get people out of poverty, why not make it 25 and get it over with? It's basic economics 101. And Barbara Lee, my goodness, does she really believe that? Does she think that works? Is that like Guam tipping over if it's on one side of the island? I'm not sure. Sorry. I'm just sorry. Gabe, $50 an hour. They don't understand.
Right.
Yeah, they can't do math. There ought to be a math test. I'm not with the cognitive test, but I think they ought to be able to pass a math test and a basic economics test before serving.
You know what? If we want everybody to be millionaires, let's just go ahead and set the minimum wage at about $250 an hour.
There you go. Problem solved.
Exactly. Why not? Yeah. If it works, just do it. And I that kind of debate is just, it's not worthy really of any attention except for the fact that people need to understand that. And sure, look, we want employees to be successful, and if they think they can do that by amplifying their voice in a union, then have at it. Federal law protects that every day, every way. And so what we need to do is we need to continue to expose union officials like Sean Fain, who literally said, I don't know if it was a Keynesian, a Keynesian slip, a Kingsley gaffe,
Freudian,
or whatever those things are. Yeah. When he says a great majority of our workers are not going to vote for Joe Biden. I mean, maybe he knows that. And we know that in polls, exit polls after elections, that there is a large chunk, sometimes up to 40-45% of rank-and-file workers who will admit in post-election polls saying, yeah, I voted for against the guy that my union endorsed. And that happens a lot more than we know.
All right, Mark Mix, National Right to Work. What's the website, social media people should check you out at?
Yeah, nrtw.org, nrtw.org, or if legislation is their interest, nrtwc.org, nrtwc.org.
All right, Mark Mix, National Right to Work. Hey, thanks again, Mark. Good to talk to you again.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, 314-912-1019. That's one of the reasons that, I know you look back at the 70s, 80s, even 90s, some of those union bosses ruled things with an iron fist. And I knew workers that were like, I can't stand it, but you know what? I got to stick with the union.
Right, yeah.
That's what they told me to do. We voted, or that's what they said. I got to stay with the union. I'm not sensing that nearly as much anymore.
Oh, yeah. Things have changed a lot since then.
Yeah. All right, 314-912-1019. I know that it doesn't make sense to talk about a viral video on the air, but I'm going to do it. Did you see this one from this car wash in Indiana?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Basically, some rude Karen decides to be a jerk to the teenage worker there, and the teenage worker got an immediate revenge.
Okay.
And it was all on video.
Okay.
I'll tell you about that right around 7:30 or 7:54 here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
So tired it disappeared. All my favorite places.
Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Reduced to parking spaces. Hey, where to go?
The wait is over. Capriati's is now open. Taste extraordinary with our one-of-a-kind sandwiches, like our award-winning Bobby with hand-pulled butterball turkey and stuffing, our roast beef with hand-sliced American Wagyu beef from Snake River Farms, or our crowd-favorite classic cheesesteaks with your choice of grilled steak or chicken. No matter which you choose, you'll always get Capriati's high-quality ingredients. Capriati's. Eat extraordinary. Order now at capriatis.com or on the app.
On Manchester at McKnight in Rock Hill. The Herzog Foundation is the vision of its founder, Stanley Herzog, and it exists to promote and accelerate the development of quality Christ-centered K-12 education.
Hi, this is Daryl Jones, president of the Herzog Foundation. Our primary goal is to advance Christian education so that families and culture flourish. The legacy of Stan's business career centers around making national transit ecosystems accessible and sustainable. Likewise, the legacy of Stan's philanthropy centers around making the ecosystems of Christian Christian education more accessible and sustainable for families across the nation. Visit HerzogFoundation.com to learn more about our programs, including trainings, scholarships, conferences, news, and our podcast, Making the Leap.
Visit HerzogFoundation.com to learn more and sign up for The Lion, an initiative of the Herzog Foundation that carries articles covering a wide range of issues facing American families and culture. HerzogFoundation.com.
Southern Armory, your hometown gun store. Come and be more than just a customer. Southern Armory, we carry the best guns, holsters, knives, magazines, ammunition, and even food storage. Special orders are welcome. Southern Armory, 1 mile east of 270 and 44, 9901 Watson Road, and SouthernArmory.com. That's SouthernArmory.com.
Whether you're purchasing your first firearm or adding to your collection at Southern Armory, you're more than a customer, you're part of the family. Follow Southern Armory on Facebook or at SouthernArmory.com.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com.
Hey, this is Todd Showalter. Join me for the Right Mind Show on Saturday at 5 as I try to put some fun back into this wacky radio station. You know, and speaking of wacky, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
You get a shiver in the dark. It's raining in the park, but meantime.
Hey, guys, I messed something up.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. We were talking about Rush Limbaugh just a minute ago, and I don't know why I said this. I said he's buried at JB.
Right.
Buck's mom over on Rumble went, Mike, I don't think you're right about that.
Okay.
I'm like, I'm not? No, he's buried at Bell Fountain.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know. I knew that. I don't know why I said JB, but thank you for correcting me. I want to make sure I say stuff that's
There are some
correct.
classic burial sites there at that cemetery.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, historic stuff. Absolutely.
Very.
So that's where he is. But I got it wrong. Want to make sure I get it right.
We correct ourselves when we're wrong here on this here radio show.
Yep, absolutely. All right, it is 7:55 here. So I don't normally talk about like viral videos, but one jumped out at me.
Yeah, okay.
You've seen this, right?
I've seen it actually. Yes.
Okay, so Stell, have you seen this?
I have not.
It's this 18-year-old gal named Anna Haryk, Harycki. Why can't people in the news just have like normal names? It makes it easier for me. And so Anna is working at a car wash in Indiana, and her job is when the cars get in and get on the track thing, and the track's pulling them, her job is to do the pressure wash on the side to like knock off the dirt and knock off the whatever. And for some reason, nobody knows why, there's a young woman in the car who thought it would be funny to roll down the window and just throw a cup of lemonade and hit the girl with the lemonade. No reason. There was no conflict. Just somebody thought that they were better than her.
Being funny.
I guess. They thought they were just threw the lemonade all over this girl. This 18-year-old, well, I guess it's technically a woman at 18. So this young lady didn't even hesitate.
Oh, gosh. She was fast.
She's got a power washer in her hand.
I was like, why would you do this?
You know what she did? She blasted that woman in the face.
Yep, right there.
With and I mean, she made sure that she soaked her. And I'm telling you, those things can hurt.
Oh, yeah.
You ever go to the car wash and like put your hand in front of those? Ow, it stings.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, that's some really high pressure. And she shoved that thing. Didn't quite put the wand in the car, but real close to it.
It was
and
close.
just blasted her and whoever else was in the car.
Now the way I saw it as though the lady in the car was dumb and kept her window down.
Yeah, because she didn't move it up real fast.
She didn't. I mean, so that as she was doing like an initial pass, you know, I think a little bit of water got inside the car. She got indignant, and that's when she threw the lemonade. That was how I read the situation. Maybe it was some other thing.
Yeah, we don't know why.
But the thing is, when you drive into a car wash, you're supposed to roll up.
Leave the windows up the whole time.
You're supposed to roll up the window.
Yeah, and the thing is that you would think that the customer's always right.
No,
the boss went, no, you were a jerk. Anna was justified, and by the way, don't ever come back onto my property.
Good boss.
That's right.
That's a good boss right there.
Finally, a good boss.
Seriously.
Oh, my goodness. All right, just ahead here, what would you do? Some homeless crazy people set up an Oscar the Grouch compound in front of your house, stinking up the joint. The city won't do anything about it. What would you do? That's happening in St. Louis right now.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Never paint again with Rhino Shield. Listen to what a couple of happy customers have to say.
My family's business is over 10,000 square feet, and it did not have the curb appeal I wanted. Our building was really faded. You came out, you gave me all of these options that would fit my building. I don't want to have to paint my building again. 25 years is a long time to not have to worry about the outside maintenance of your building as far as paint. That's a no-brainer. That's why Rhino Shield worked for me.
What a wonderful job they did. It's beautiful. They were very thoughtful, kind, considerate guys. Appreciate all the work that these two young men did.
Call Rhino Shield, 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Mike Ferguson here. Retirement should be a time you can relax. No more stress from work. But there's one thing you can't forget about when retiring. That's your money. Do you have enough saved to fund your income for life and keep up with inflation? How will you claim your Social Security benefits? And what about long-term care? The ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel is here to help answer all of these questions. You can hear their latest views on the markets and investing during On the Money, hosted by Stifel financial advisors Bob Stockdale and Eric Robert, every Saturday morning at 9, right here on News Talk STL. They can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call 636-695-2650, 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at
newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Tens of millions of people are under flash flood watches or warnings as another atmospheric river dumps huge amounts of rain on California, raising the risk of flooding and potentially deadly mud and rock slides.
5 to 10 inches of rain turned placid streams into raging torrents. Ethan Ragsdale with the Santa Barbara Police Department spoke with KEY-TV.
Please stay away from the creeks. They're absolutely dangerous. It is swiftly flowing water.
The front is stalled in Southern California today, with flood concerns increasing and rain reaching Las Vegas and southwestern Utah as the day progresses. I'm Jennifer King.
Arab nations sponsoring a UN resolution demanding an immediate humanitarian ceasefire in Gaza, knowing it will be vetoed by the U.S., which is set to offer a rival plan, one that would support a Gaza ceasefire. The mother of Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny is appealing to Vladimir Putin to intervene and turn her son's body over to her so that she can bury him with dignity. There is a mega merger in the works, one that would bring together two credit card giants.
Capital One Financial is buying Discover Financial Services for $35 billion. The deal brings together two of the nation's biggest credit card companies. In a news release, they say Discover shareholders will receive Capital One shares valued at nearly $140. Discover shares closed Friday trading at $110.49. Capital One was the 12th largest U.S. bank as of the third quarter, while Discover was 33rd. Both companies have benefited from Americans' increased use of credit cards, but they've also needed to set aside more reserves to guard against defaults. I'm Ben Thomas.
Back to work this morning for Wall Street following the long holiday weekend. Right now, the Dow futures are down 134 points. NASDAQ futures off 74 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Find a reason to be here that's bigger than you are.
From the creators of Jesus Revolution.
Something about that little girl. I think I'm supposed to help.
Based on the inspiring true story.
My name is Sharon. I'm good at plenty of things, taking no for an answer ain't one.
Find your purpose. Make a difference.
You want to go on an adventure?
Yeah.
Ordinary Angels. Starring two-time Academy Award winner Hilary Swank and Alan Richson. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. In theaters February 23rd.
Relief Factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. Relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Boy, this sweet stretch of weather continues for a couple more days here. Sunny and warmer for your Tuesday. 63 this afternoon with a south wind at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Clear tonight. Wednesday morning, not quite as chilly as the last few mornings. The low at 42. Warmest air of the week arrives tomorrow. Wednesday's high 67 under increasing cloud cover. Be ready for rain and a few thunderstorms on Thursday. Most of that coming down in the morning. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
With Old Man Winter blowing into the heartland, let me tell you, Hanson's Tree Service is here to help. Tim Jones here for Hanson's Tree Service. Look them up 24/7 at hansonstree.com. Do you have any tree problems at your home or your business? Overhanging branches? Have Hanson's and the gang take them down professionally so Old Man Winter doesn't. What about organic mulch? Hanson's Tree has got that in bulk. It'll save you in price and time. Incredibly convenient. Protect all those assets you've got in the ground and have Hanson's take care of everything above the ground for you as well. Get them out to your homestead or your business right now. hansonstree.com. That's hansonstree.com.
Katie here, and I'd like to talk to you guys about Michael's Flooring Outlet. You could gain peace of mind with Michael's Flooring Outlet for your flooring and carpet installation needs. Their team of experts ensures that the job is done right the first time, providing you with attentive and personalized service. Just like my parents, you can trust them to replace your old carpet with beautiful hardwood flooring. Visit one of their 3 locations in Dardenne Prairie, St. Peters, or Creve Coeur, or check them out at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
Mike Ferguson.
Are you pretending to be crazy?
Gabe Pfeiffer.
There's something serious I have to tell you about the future.
Get up, St. Louis.
Hey, will you guys knock it off?
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, this is your cousin Rob.
I just tripped over my headphones. I just lost sound in half of my headphones.
Because
I did it. I think I
yanked the cord right out. Yeah. So it's only half in there.
When that happens. All right, I got to buy another headphone. Then nobody cares about that but me. All right, 8:05 right now.
But half of your head's quiet.
Yeah, half of it is. Makes room for all the other voices. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna. We love to call out government when they don't do their job.
Yeah.
I got some questions for some St. Louis City residents as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Here's the situation.
Okay.
Over at Chippewa and what was it? Spring, I think it is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So South City. There is always so much weird stuff happening in South City. And anytime you say Chippewa, you can almost go, all right, what's going on now? You know, somewhere along Chippewa.
Because your first thought is Ted Drew's, and then it's downhill from there.
Yeah. And this is part of the downhill. So right there, Chippewa and Spring, this is a residential area. It's a nice, it's a typical South City brick, neighborhood. And some crazy people years ago started building a little compound, like on the street, up on the sidewalk. And there's a tarp over the top and chairs that looks like they may have gotten from dumpsters. And it's just a trash Oscar the Grouch kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a shanty.
Yeah. And it's the city says it's 2 refugees from Sudan. At one point, Channel 2, which we posted the story on our social media. They had their drone over the top getting shots of this because this thing is grown.
Oh yeah,
people literally have to walk or bike or drive around it because they've just set up their place there, or their dwelling.
That's annoying.
Oh yeah,
yeah. It's a good 100 square feet, I think.
Well, I don't know if it's that. Well,
it's 10 feet wide.
It's at least 10 feet wide. That's true. It could possibly be. And literally, while the drone was over the top, you saw some food waste get thrown out on the street.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, while the drone was there getting pictures of it, food was thrown out. And there's the drainage for the storm water, sewer drain.
Yeah.
And apparently that's their toilet.
Yeah.
So you've got a home right there that this is infringing on the home.
And it's right on the corner. You can see it from Chippewa between Grand and Kings Highway.
Yep.
It's there for everybody to see when you drive by.
And apparently smell.
Yes.
as well.
Yes.
And
you could smell the video. It's like, just put it that way.
Smell-o-vision.
You could. The image is there. Probably tweaked something in your brain so you could smell what that was.
And here's the thing: is the city has been called over and over. They're now going into their 4th year at this place.
That's crazy to me.
So my question is going to be, what would you do, or what should these people do to do something about it? Because the city won't do anything about it. Literally going into their 4th year. The city says, well, these are, refugees from Sudan, and we've offered them help. We keep trying to get them to accept the help and move, and they just won't do it.
Yeah.
As though the crazy people are in charge. If you live in that neighborhood and the city goes, well, we offered them help and there's nothing we can do. You just have to smell their crap, literally.
Oh my gosh.
And so now the residents are taking the city to court. They've hired a lawyer, Beavis Schuck, who sues the city a lot. And he's now...
Sounds like my kind of guy.
Oh, yeah. Beavis is great. I like Beavis. And so here's part of what he told Channel 2.
Filth everywhere. It smells. It's disgusting. It makes their front of their house unusable. They have a lovely front porch. They can't use it.
Literally because of the smell.
Yeah.
And also, of course, there are some people who say, well, I mean, they're trying to go through the process and make a move, but they just can't force them to move. And Beavis disagrees with that.
But when Kamala Harris came, they cleaned them all out of home base, City Hall. So they absolutely have the power to move people out. I hope this case becomes a model of how you attack them. Make the judge order the city to do their own job.
Okay, so here's my thing, guys. Is yes, it is ridiculous that the city, and apparently they've had the codes people out there, they've had the health department people, they have the whatever human services, and then the nonprofits, and they're begging these people to accept help and leave. The people are like, no, we're staying here. Okay, well, first of all, why are they being given the choice? They're literally on the street.
Yeah.
And literally up on a sidewalk, an easement, literally blocking the ramp that's the disabled access. I mean, why are they the ones in charge? Okay, so that's my critique of the city. And if somebody has a defense of the city, I'm all ears.
Yeah.
I really am. Here's my critique of the people living there on Spring and Chippewa. Why aren't you doing something about it? It's going on 4 years, and you're telling me that at no point did somebody say, you know what, there's more of us than there are of them. Let's just rip the damn thing down, throw it in somebody's truck, take it to the dump and dump it, and then they can be forced to go get some help, or they just have to go somewhere else and be somebody else's problem. Why isn't anybody taking the initiative to say, this is our neighborhood, you don't get to come in and make your own rules. You don't get to come in and commandeer part of a public street. You sure don't get to commandeer part of my yard. You sure don't get to have your literal feces smell wafting through our houses. Why aren't they doing anything? You try to set that up. You're not getting anywhere near this big of a thing. I'm ripping the thing down.
Oh, yeah,
in front of my house.
It shouldn't have lasted 4 months, let alone 4 years.
If I were living there, my level of aggravation would be off the charts by now.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, I mean, and you're going into your 4th year. But at some point, yes, it is the city's fault because they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yes.
At some point, is it the residents' fault too?
I would think so.
I may make somebody mad by asking that, but I'm asking the question.
Yeah.
Is it the residents' fault as well?
Okay, now the one to be, I guess, a devil's advocate for the inaction, I guess, of the residents. This whole situation reminds me of squatter situations with landlords.
Yeah.
Because that's a whole other story, and there are lots of communities, lots of state law that always protects the squatter. I saw a social media post about a guy who now I don't know if he was doing this himself or he was using himself as kind of the stand-in to tell the story, but he talked about just finding a vacant house, creating a fake lease, starting utilities based on that fake lease, which he never planned on paying for, staying in the house for as long as he felt like it, and when the homeowner discovered him, and had the police called on him because he wouldn't leave, the police saw the fake lease, said, okay, we can't do anything. This is a civil matter. The homeowner had to sue, and thousands of dollars. And 6 months later, the homeowner out of absolute frustration, says, I will give you $10,000 to leave. So this guy, whoever, whether it's the guy who posted the story or him telling a story, got $27,000, almost $30,000 worth of savings, basically, for 6 months to live someplace for free, have utilities for free, and get $10,000 cash in his pocket when he walks away.
Stealing somebody else's property temporarily.
Stealing someone else's
I don't
property.
know what it is about squatters that makes me so angry, because I've also seen stories where somebody is, they went and had a contract job for 2 months somewhere, come home and somebody's moved into their place.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're told, well, it's a civil matter. You have to evict them and go through the courts, and it takes
go through the courts.
No, I'm telling you something. I go out of town to play in my ball tournament or something. I come back a week later. You're in my house saying squatters' rights. I know where the weapons and the baseball bats are in there. If the police don't remove you right away, I'll tell them, all right, you've done your thing. Go ahead and go away. And I'm resorting to violence day one.
Immediately.
I mean, day one.
Yeah.
You're given the chance to walk out, or you're getting the chance to be thrown out. And I mean that literally. With this case right here, I'm trying to put myself in these neighbors' heads, these residents' heads, because they're the victims. But at the same time, they've done nothing to defend their property.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're in that house right there on Chippewa and Spring, and
right
I don't
at the
know,
corner.
I don't know who lives there. Maybe a 90-year-old couple. I have somebody who's I don't know. But if you live there and you literally can't use your front porch or the front of your house because of the smell.
Yeah. You got to pass by this every day you come in and out of your house, right?
And probably if they're throwing food and waste everywhere that other people have to clean up, you're attracting pests as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and you're not defending yourself. Part of this, after a little while, becomes on you. You make phone calls. They're still a week or two later. It's the city's fault. They're there a month later. Oh, okay. And you're all over the city. Okay. After a little bit, you get out there and start ripping stuff down, and you start running them off to do that.
Yeah. As a landlord who did have to fight people to get them out, to get them evicted. Now, granted, it never took 6 months, but it did take several months of lost rent. And then, of course, destroyed property I had to go in and fix and things like that. That was enough to kind of change my mind about wanting to abide by the rules that I'm being told. Because now that I think about it, it's like, wait a minute. Let's say I did physically assault these people to get them out of my house. How are they going to sue me? They don't have anything. They can't even pay their rent. So who are they going to get to sue me?
And I'm not even talking about physical assault. I'm talking about it's a tarp over chairs and boxes.
Oh, I mean tearing down the stuff. Like in this case,
that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about
just
assaulting the people.
Sure.
I'm talking you move into my house where I live.
Yeah.
And I can.
We're talking about the squatters showing up at your house.
I'm going to violence
immediately.
I'm saying it in front of God and thousands of people right now on the radio.
Yeah.
Somebody tries to squat in my house and tell me that I have to go through the courts and take months. No. I've got a much more efficient way to do that.
Yeah.
But in this particular case, you start ripping down. You just go in there and rip it down. And when they start yelling at you in whatever their native language is, so what?
So what?
Make sure you got more of you than them, and if, and then start throwing stuff in the trash. Start throwing it in a dumpster. Go rent the the
power washer.
Well, the power washer, but rent the like when we had our house done, we had to bring in the renovation, the big dumpster box.
Oh the
whatever that's called. You bring that in. Everybody chip in $25, and you get one of those, and you rip it down, and you throw that stuff in there. And then you haul it off, and you have to take the confrontation, because City Hall seems to be more worried about the crazy people who are stinking up other people's lives than they are the people who actually own the property and pay the taxes.
Are we moving into a new era in America where we're going to have to be basically on par in terms of self-reliance as previous generations, even back in the 1800s? You know what I mean?
Maybe,
because I mean there used to be things that people did that became the purview of public services, but now those public services are failing. So are we going to have to go back to doing these things ourselves?
Yeah, I mean, there's something to be said for private streets.
Yeah.
And in this case right here, that's more private property rights, and most of their dwelling is on the actual street, which should make it even easier for them to get rid of them.
Yeah. You'd think.
But 4 years and nobody's getting rid. Listen, if you live in the area and I'm missing something, let me know, because I guarantee you that would not be allowed to stand in front of my house, period. It would not be done. I guarantee you It would not be done. All right, 314-912-1019. Got some thoughts on that? Let me know. Especially you live in the area. If I'm missing something, say, well, no, Mike, you can't do that. It takes time. Why? Run them off. What are they going to do? Call the cops on you? They're going to file a complaint? So what? All right, let's talk about it. 314-912-1019 right here on 1019-94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Before you blow us all away. Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up.
Tony Colombo here along with Tim Jones for Rodney and Jen Wallner, the Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Rodney and Jen are the #1 home selling team in the area, and I could say that from personal experience. They sold our old home faster and for more money than we thought possible, which put us in a great position as we tried to find our perfect new home. And with help from the Wallners, that's exactly what we did. Christine and I couldn't be happier with our experience working with Rodney and Jen Wallner. And Tim, the numbers speak for themselves.
That's right, Tony. Everybody knows the Wallners sell 15 times more homes per year than the typical realtor. And if you're looking to sell your home, right now they have so many qualified buyers, they'll guarantee to obtain you an offer. They're licensed in both Missouri and Illinois, so no matter where you are in the St. Louis region, you can put the Wallners' experience and work ethic to work for you. If you've been thinking about selling your home, don't wait. Call Rodney and Jen Wallner now at 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD for the Wallner home selling team.
In the fast-paced world of digital marketing, making connections is a challenge for any business. But what if we told you there's a place where connections aren't just made, they're grown? Meet 2060 Digital, your premier Google partner and top-tier digital agency. We don't just follow trends, we set them. At 2060 Digital, we're not just another agency, we're your strategic partner. We dive deep into your challenges and develop solutions that drive measurable outcomes. Ready to elevate your digital presence with campaigns that connect? Google 2060 Digital today.
You can't buy a best friend. You can love them, walk them, pet them, and care for them, whether they want you to or not. You can take a picture or 50. You can fly to the moon, travel the world, or just stay in bed. You can't buy a best friend like that, but you can adopt one. There are millions of pets waiting for a best friend just like you. Help us save them all at bestfriends.org.
News, analysis, opinion.
It almost seems common sense, but, alas, common sense isn't so common these days.
News Talk STL.
Hey, this is Rob Carter. Join me weeknights at 8 p.m. as I challenge our politicians, expose the political press, and analyze pop culture. It's the Rob Carter Show weeknights from 8 to 10 p.m. here on News Talk STL. Now let's get back to the best men's league over 40 backstop in St. Louis. Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right, a key Missouri Republican is backing down on the Second Amendment and the rights it affords us because he wants to be respectful to leftists in Kansas City. And Gabe's wife left the Enterprise Center very happy. Gabe has no public comment on the game if he knows what's good for him. It's 8:21 right now. I'm Mike Ferguson. Got Gabe here. Got Stell here. All right, here's what's going on. By the way, I just got an update a minute ago from Jefferson City. The Democrats in the state Senate are filibustering the Republican efforts to put initiative petition reform on the ballot. And so the one thing that the Democrats want to stop is you from voting to protect the state constitution. And they are in hour number 16 of the Democratic filibuster. They do not want initiative petition reform to happen in the state. They do not want the state constitution. They want to be able to continue buying constitutional amendments. So that's happening right now as we speak. Our own Tim Jones is at the Capitol and just sent me that update. So, Tim, thank you very much. Okay, Missouri lawmakers were considering bills to allow CCW permit holders to carry on to allow CCW permit holders to carry on public transit and carry in churches if the church allows it. Okay. House Majority Leader Jonathan Patterson shelving that proposal. He didn't kill it entirely, but he goes, you know what? We're going to put it on hold. But frankly, as we approach the end of February, shelving it at the moment is going to make it very difficult to pass at this point because the clock is ticking. So he says it would be disrespectful to far-left Kansas City Mayor Quinton Lucas to move forward with that bill, which every indication shows would pass. And, of course, Quinton Lucas opposing it because he's a far-left Democrat. And he spoke out against the measure after last week's shooting at the Chiefs championship celebration. So basically, you have a Republican leader in the House who has just kind of caved in because the Democrats are saying you're hurting our feelings. And he just said, well, it would be disrespectful. You know, we offered thoughts and prayers, and so I just think it would be disrespectful to push this bill because he doesn't want it. Well, he's not elected to the state legislature. He's elected mayor of Kansas City. And guess what? Deep blue Kansas City is never going to vote for this Republican from Lee Summit who just caved into him. And so I think that's ridiculous. I don't know much about Jonathan Patterson. He may be really solid otherwise, but on this one, he just caved in and folded like a cheap suit.
Sadly, that's what we see a lot these days.
Yep.
From folks on the Republican side.
Sure is. It is, unfortunately. Okay, here's a question. What's wrong with the Francis Howell School District's network? Talking about the IT computer network. All schools in the district are closed at least today and tomorrow. The administration says an unexpected activity disrupted their system. Now, they're not saying it's a cyber attack. They're not saying it's a ransomware attack. They're not saying it's a hack or anything like that. But they did tell the families in the district that any connected systems to their main system there, they've been taken offline as a security measure. So they really went out of the way. I read the email that they sent to the families, and they went really far out of their way to try to not say anything like cyber attack or anything like that. But clearly it's a security measure, and they're bringing in third-party experts to try to navigate them through this. It is possible that the kids could go back in classroom on Friday or even possibly Thursday, but it's also possible, they've been told, it may not be until next week. So in the meantime, the students are supposed to do the remote learning protocol, which I'm totally sure is happening today. All the students got right on and they're doing all the remote learning. They're not sleeping in or they're not watching TV or Netflix. I'm sure that they are all doing exactly what the school district wants them to do.
I'm sure they're totally focused on it.
Totally is that's what's happening right there.
And I got to say, unexpected activity sounds an awful lot like what I went through. I don't know if you've had this happen, Mike, wherever you've worked in the past. I had it happen twice at our previous employer.
Yeah.
They had an actual cyber attack 2 different times.
2 of them. That's right.
And that was the initial description that we got. Not word for word on unexpected activity, but it was essentially you need to shut everything down, and you won't be able to access stuff here for a few days.
Anything, files. Oh, that was
it was
awful.
A disaster.
Oh, it was. It was. No, I remember. I remember that. Oh my goodness! I don't mean to laugh because we got a bunch of friends over there and the poor engineers, and oh gosh, that was awful. It's like the first time, it's like those scoundrel cyber villains out there. The second time, you're like, hey, why didn't you lock the door? Why didn't you change the locks? You know, this happened twice in pretty quick succession.
It was. And they would say from their corporate office, oh, no, we installed extra security measures. Well, it didn't seem like it worked very well.
You didn't pay the antivirus bill. Something. I don't know. All right. Okay, let's see here what else we got going on here. Okay, so this is interesting. President Biden is suggesting that the possibility of a sit-down meeting with House Speaker Mike Johnson may actually happen, but he's not sure it's worth his time.
Last week, the White House rejected the idea of the president meeting with the speaker, saying there is nothing to negotiate when it comes to foreign aid. But now Mr. Biden says he'd be happy to meet with him if he has anything to say. Speaker Johnson has suggested the House will not vote on a bipartisan Senate bill that includes emergency funding for Ukraine. The president says it's shocking the way House Republicans are walking away from the threat of Russia. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Okay, so take out whatever you feel about the foreign aid bills and Russia and Ukraine and Israel and all of that. the president of the United States saying, no, maybe I'll meet with the Speaker of the House if he has something to say. How condescending and arrogant. You got the guy who's 2 heartbeats away from the president. And the constitutionally speaking, I would argue the second most powerful person in all of government, more powerful than the vice president in a lot of ways, because the Speaker of the House controls funding issues. And to say, I'm not even going to meet with you, there's nothing to negotiate, is basically saying, do what I tell you to do. How dare you defy me?
And let's think back for a moment, shall we? What was one of the basic tenets for Mr. Biden when he came into office? I'm a unifier.
Yeah.
I'm going to unify everything. Well, I haven't seen much unification going on, to be honest with you.
And it's election year, which makes it even worse. I mean, the smartest thing he could do would be get your pictures taken in the Oval Office with the Speaker, and then you don't come to any agreement, but you tried. Then you can at least sell that you tried. But no, the arrogant, well, if he has something to say. Well, of course he has something to say. He's the Speaker of the House. He just nuked your bill. He just nuked your funding. You better believe that it's incumbent on you. And by the way, the whole federalist system means that the presidents are not dictators. They don't get to just do everything. There's a reason the people's representatives have so much power.
And I give Mike Johnson some credit for standing up for the principles that he feels are correct.
Right. And again, you take out whatever you feel about the differences and all the international foreign aid and all that kind of stuff. This is the president originally saying, I'm not even going to meet with the Speaker of the House. That's just dumb and arrogant. All right. Gabe's wife, Janet, left the Enterprise Center, a very happy woman yesterday.
She may still be wearing her
She's probably still
jersey.
Yeah. So her Maple Leafs beat the Blues 4-2 at the Enterprise Center. That's the second loss in a row for the Blues. But when you look at over the last 10 games or so, the Blues have had a great run recently. Really good run. No game today or tomorrow for the Blues. They get to rest up a little bit. They host the Islanders on Thursday, and I think that's the last home game for a week or two because they go on the road for 2 or 3 games. So hopefully they can wrap up the homestand on a good note. And if that case, then Gabe would be happy because they won, beat the Islanders. But then Janet's happy because the Maple Leafs won. Her Maple Leafs won.
It was funny. Gabe said that there were quite a few Leafs fans there.
Yeah.
Yesterday. So I guess there are plenty of the original 6 fans still hanging around, which is great.
Yeah, that's interesting. All right. And so that's just ahead. By the way, Gabe, did you have any comment on the Maple Leafs beating the Blues yesterday?
Janet was very, very happy.
It is. That's a smart man, not making any more comments.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land.
All right, Democrats pushing for gun control. They are basically trying to exploit the tragedy in Kansas City, as we knew they would. Do they have any momentum? I'm telling you, this relates to our encouragement to decline to sign. I'll give you the update on that right around 8:35 here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL, number 1 for live and local conservative talk.
By the way, a little music note here, classic St. Louis song from Mama's Pride called Blue Mist.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We were brought together because of stormy weather. Because when the weather got better and the sun came, you were gone. Now you couldn't help but make it because you tried to fake it. But let a stranger come and take it all away. I couldn't live without you, though I often think about you and wonder what would happen had you tried.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Boy, this sweet stretch of weather continues for a couple more days here. Sunny and warmer for your Tuesday. 63 this afternoon with a south wind at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Clear tonight. Wednesday morning, not quite as chilly as the last few mornings. The low at 42. Warmest air of the week arrives tomorrow. Wednesday's high 67 under increasing cloud cover. Be ready for rain and a few thunderstorms on Thursday. Most of that coming down in the morning. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Fox News commentary.
Joe Biden halts deportations for Palestinians living in the U.S. But let's be honest, immigration is already a free-for-all. I'm Tommy Laren. More next.
If you have a bank account, pay attention. The U.S. banking system is once again under extreme stress, but there is an easy way to protect yourself. Gold. Contact Noble Gold Investments today and safeguard your family's financial future. As a thank you for opening a qualified account, they'll give you a free quarter-ounce gold standard coin. Just use the promo code GOLD. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
In an effort to appease the pro-Palestinian bloc of the Democrat base, President Joe has issued a deportation pause for most Palestinians living in the U.S. for at least 18 months. This order applies to Palestinian students, workers, and even tourists, and will give them shield and comfort till at least August of 2025. Many of them will also get work authorization privileges. It would seem that pretty much every non-citizen gets coddled by the Biden administration, but I wonder if some of these Palestinians getting this deportation protection have been in the streets calling for the genocide of Jews or elimination of Israel, because it's reasonable to assume so. We no longer value national security, border security, or the concept of law and order, so let's just call it what it is, a free-for-all. Deportation is a lost art form. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show Tommy Lahren is Fearless at Outkick.com.
Hi, Sean Long for STL Fenceworks. STL Fenceworks is proud and excited to install American-made aluminum and vinyl fence products, as well as American-made decking. For instance, STL Fenceworks has teamed up with Jareth Manufacturing. Jareth invented the aluminum fence industry over 50 years ago. The Jareth product is wholly sourced and manufactured in the U.S., and STL Fenceworks is the third largest Jareth customer in the world. STL Fenceworks is vinyl fencing also, and not just white. We partner with National Vinyl Products to provide you with tan, clay, gray, and variegated wood grain vinyl fence products too, all made in the U.S. Not to be forgotten, STL Fenceworks is maintenance-free decking. STL Fenceworks is the #1 distributor of Wolf Cellular PVC in the Midwest, proudly manufactured in the U.S. and voted #1 maintenance-free decking product in the United States. Let STL Fenceworks make your outdoor space magical. Visit stlfenceworks.com today and learn how we can make your backyard dreams into a reality. At STL Fenceworks, your satisfaction is our passion.
Hey, St. Louis, my name is Rob Carter. My new primetime show will explore the collaboration between corrupt media and our corrupted political system. From manipulated elections, open borders, mandated medicines, and unconstitutional lockdowns, what is going on?
The Rob Carter Show.
Let's talk about it on The Rob Carter Show. Join me weeknights from 8 to 10 p.m. on News Talk STL.
Rob Carter, live and local, weeknights at 8 on News Talk STL. Talk radio made in St. Louis for St. Louis. This is News Talk STL.
Our responsibility.
News, analysis, and opinion.
To provide updated guidance.
At 1019, 941, and newstalkstl.com.
Hey, this is Larry Connors. Make sure you're listening later today at 6 o'clock on News Talk STL for my show, Larry Connors USA. Now, back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Moving forward, using all my breath.
Do I sense an 80s song here?
A little bit, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's I Melt With You. Modern English.
Yes.
One of those bands we had talked about a few days ago.
Kind of the new wave
yeah.
of the 80s came in.
It's funny, the new wave artists, for some reason, like, I don't know if there's something now in the water or something over in England, but modern British singers don't sound British. I don't hear their accent when they sing, but the new wave guys, I can always tell. Oh, that's time.
And if you want to hear more 80s Flashback Fridays, tell us what song or songs you want to hear in the bump music. And by the way, we get so many comments on the bump music here. So go to Mike Ferguson in the morning, that page on newstalkstl.com, and you can see the bump music list right there every day. And you say you actually put up if we can find the videos, you'll put the videos up there. So you
yes.
just click it and watch the original video.
There are links listed right there, and
nice.
you can hit one of the links and enjoy the song over and over and over.
One of the things that we know infamously Rahm Emanuel said back in the Obama days is never let a crisis go to waste, or never let a good crisis go to waste.
Yeah. Another Chicago boy.
Another Chicago boy, yep. And here's where we're at with that. We're seeing that in Missouri right now. I'm telling you right now that the Democrats in Missouri have way more political influence than they should based on the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, right now we're in hour 16, going on hour 17 of a Democratic filibuster trying to stop initiative petition reform. Tim Jones just updated me. He's there. And he said that looks like there might be some kind of deal in the works, and Tim's not in those meetings. But I told Tim, I said, I hope they don't make a deal. You put initiative petition reform on the ballot. Let's sell it. But don't let the Democrats dictate what that's going to be. There's almost none of them there. Nobody elects them.
Right.
So you've got the filibuster, which, you should in the state Senate, but do the procedure known as calling the previous question, roll right over the top of them, and be done with it.
There you go.
Then you put it on the ballot, and then what we want we want people to protect our state constitution,
right,
and prevent people from, prevent out-of-state interest or in-state interest from spending a couple $1 million and just buying a constitutional amendment.
Yeah, I don't think there's any room for negotiation with the Democrats here.
No.
Because typically I'm willing to negotiate with somebody who has a good faith disagreement about the manner in which I'm trying to accomplish something. But the thing is, if you're not doing so, if you're not negotiating in good faith, if you don't actually believe that the Constitution needs to be protected from out of state money, and because you're running the opposition campaign to do so, then no, I don't care what you think.
Right. And that's what I think, but we'll find out. By the way, speaking of the in bad faith as well, let's talk about the guns. And we talked to Aaron Dorr. Was it Friday?
Yeah.
I guess we talked to Aaron. And I mentioned, I'm not really worried about Second Amendment stuff. And he said, Mike, I'm going to push back on you. He said, there are worries that we have regarding gun rights and Second Amendment rights here in Missouri. And I'm like, okay, push back on me. That's fine. It's another perspective. That's what the show's all about. But I'm like, yeah, Aaron really knows what he's talking about. But yeah, I just don't see it in Missouri. Well, now I see it.
Oh, okay.
You've got the majority leader in the House who said, you know what, I'm going to take a bill that the Republicans were basically all behind, and I'm going to sideline it because one left-wing mayor and some Democrats are really angry. And there's a lot of media attention right now because of the shooting in Kansas City.
Right.
Now, keep in mind that the shooting in Kansas City, one woman was killed. Horrible. By the way, our radio brethren and sistren in Kansas City, all of them, all the different companies, local and national, they're all coming together and helping to provide for this woman's family.
Oh, that's great. That's excellent.
Yeah, because she was a volunteer DJ at a community station. She did a show that focused on Tejano music. And really catered to the Hispanic community in the Kansas City area. And so some of my friends told me about that on social media last night. So tragic, horrible, senseless death, 22 people injured, several kids. And immediately, this is predictable. The left runs in and says, see, we need more gun control laws. And there is an outright, you talk about bad faith, lying. Even Democrats are trying to correct some of these lies. Jane Duker, who is a Democrat, I would call her a left of center Democrat. I would not call her a far left or a fringe Democrat. I think she's one of those who has good intentions. Now, she is for some gun control that I would never support, but then again, she's a Democrat. And she's on social media correcting people because somebody is saying, well, you Republicans passed laws that allow children to walk around with guns.
Yeah.
That's patently not true.
That's not true.
It's not true at the state level. It's not true at the local level. It's not true at the federal level. It's just not true, but the lies continue. So what's happening now is the Democrats had a press conference at the Capitol demanding gun safety reform. Those are the words they're using now. Gun safety reform, which means gun control. And they're saying, look at what happened in Kansas City, because they're trying to exploit what happened.
Right.
And it is an strong emotional appeal, especially to those independent voters who are not particularly idealistic regarding guns, because they think that they're making a decision based on the guns. It's not about the guns.
Yeah, or need or silly things like that.
Nothing like that. It is about, do you have a human right to self-defense or not?
Right.
But it's an emotional appeal, and we like to think that we just point out the Second Amendment says this, and that's supposed to fire up independent voters. A smaller and smaller percentage of Americans care about the Constitution every year.
Oh gosh, yeah.
This is what we have to understand. You're passionate about our constitutional rights and freedoms. You're passionate about constitutionally limited government. So am I. Every single year, more people come out of the indoctrination centers known as public education. Then they go through the additional filter of indoctrination centers known as the academy, the colleges and universities, and they come out either not caring, not knowing, or hating the founding documents, the Constitution. So don't think that you say the Second Amendment says it right there, so therefore you should be voting this way. They don't care.
Yeah, I think Republicans, conservatives, we need to get better at making emotional appeals.
Yes.
Because the thing is, we've been making logical appeals forever. You know, it's like, here's my spreadsheet.
We win on logic.
Exactly. Here's my spreadsheet. Here's my my commentary. Here's what the think tank says after doing an exhaustive historical analysis of intentional original meaning and things like that. It's like, yeah, that's great. That's a great way to underpin an ideology. It's a great way to be able to logically defend your position on things. But that doesn't appeal to voters.
Right.
Voters care about the story. And right now, the story is, oh my gosh, these crazy teenagers had legally held firearms and then they used them, and now there's a woman dead. That's the story.
Nobody would be dead if the Republicans didn't do what they did.
That's the story. Right. And the thing is, we got to counter with our own stories. We got to counter with the story of the lady who's being stalked by her boyfriend. She went out and got a firearm, and when he tried to come and kill her, she defended herself. Right. That story happens a lot more often than the crazy teenagers getting into an argument in a group.
The vast majority of the use of a firearm, and if you go to the government statistics, go to the FBI crime statistics, and these are just the reported cases, just the reported cases show that the vast majority of time a gun is used in self-defense, the trigger is never pulled.
Yep.
Just the threat, the presence of it saves lives.
And even just the instances in which the presence of the firearm changed the outcome of the situation, that happens in order of magnitude or two more than the murder of people by guns.
But you have a tragic, horrible shooting connected with something as popular as the Kansas City Chiefs, just won the Super Bowl, and the virtue signaling starts immediately. They are crawling over the wounded, trying to gain more gun control.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's what it is.
They're standing on the bodies of the dead children to do this.
Yeah, I mean, well, no, the children. The wounded children. Yeah.
That's the image I always get because of all this.
That's what they're trying to do. And they're being portrayed by the media as the good guys and the cold-hearted Republicans who are trying to defend your ability to protect your own life are somehow the bad guys.
Right.
Now, remember, these are two 17-year-olds.
Thugs.
Who got into you just dog whistled. According to Quentin Lucas, the mayor of Kansas City, that's a racism dog whistle.
I did a racism?
You did a racism.
Oh, man.
Listen, the only black guy in the room, you just did a racism.
Thugs are thugs.
So these two teenagers got into an argument. They got into a beef with each other. We don't know what the nature of the conflict is. We don't know why they didn't like each other. They took out weapons that were illegal for them to own, not just in Kansas City, but on the state and a federal level because they're underage. They were concealing them, which is illegal because of their age. And then, by the way, it's illegal to shoot at somebody who's not trying to kill you.
Even before that, it's illegal to brandish.
It's illegal to brandish. And then shooting people is also illegal.
Also illegal.
And so what the Democrats, what the left is saying is, common sense, how could you not demand more gun safety laws?
We need to make what they did illegaler.
Yeah.
This is what they're arguing.
Basically.
Which is as nonsensical as the word illegaler.
Precisely. So this is where the conservatives, this is where the Republicans need to stand the strongest. Look right back at the leftist media and the reporters that go, no, your framing sucks.
Right.
Here's why. You know, I mean, we could, maybe I'll tell my story again real quick. I can do it in a minute and a half or so here. And that is, 26 years ago, I am, my son had just been born. He's an infant. I'm in my first marriage and I leave to run an errand and I come back and I start to open the door of my car in front of my apartment. I get punched. I look up and there's a thug with a 6-shot revolver, snub nose, pointed right at me. It wasn't a snub nose. I'm sorry, regular barrel revolver, looking, right at my forehead. And he got $15 out of my wallet. It's all I had. He got my leather jacket, which I really liked that leather jacket. It was a brown bomber jacket. I love that jacket. And he ran off and he'd robbed somebody else too. A couple years later, they find him. They try him. I testified against him and he was put in prison for the 15-year sentence. And he's since served his time and I don't know where he is now. He did his time. But at that time in Missouri, this is before concealed carry, CCW. This is before constitutional carry. It was illegal for me to defend myself.
Right.
Illegal. Just as illegal as it was for him to carry, except that guy was a criminal and I'm not. And therefore he had the advantage. So it's not just a legal question. It is a human rights question.
Yes.
Self-defense is a human right. And that's why when the leftists say, well, we just need to compromise on it. Screw you. No, we don't.
We've already compromised. I
Too
mean, and
much.
that's the thing. We've already compromised too much, and we're just trying to claw back rights that we should have had from the get go.
Right.
You know, and the story needs to be, hey, you're trying to leverage the illegal behavior of these two thugs to try to take the ability of women like this lady who defended herself against her crazy ex-boyfriend, and you're trying to take her ability to defend herself away because of the two thugs.
Right. Precisely.
That's the story.
So those are, by the way, and that relates to another part of the initiative petition reform issue, is that we've talked about decline to sign.
Mm-hmm.
As of right now, 50% plus one passes a constitutional amendment in the state, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But in addition to the pro-abortion petitions being circulated all over the state with $1 million+ of special interest money, the left is also trying to put something on the ballot saying local control, let cities and local governments and counties pass their own gun safety reforms if they want. So basically, let local communities take away Second Amendment rights and freedoms.
Right.
If the local communities want to do it, because the state legislature won't allow it. And the Second Amendment doesn't allow it, but they want to put a pro-gun control referendum on the ballot. They're going to tell you it's local control.
Mm-hmm.
Decline to sign everything this year.
Absolutely.
Everything.
Now, if you feel so averse to the quote unquote confrontation of saying, no, I don't want to, or you feel as though you might be able to be cornered by these people, because some people don't feel comfortable telling other people no.
Mm-hmm.
Sign a fake name.
Yeah.
Fake name, fake address, fake number, and have it planned out so you know exactly what you're going to do.
Yeah, we had a couple a little bit earlier. Somebody said that their favorite one to sign is David L. Roth.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, there you go. That's a good
then
one.
Somebody else said Holden McGroin.
Yep, exactly.
There's another one.
There are
Good Irish name.
There are so many good Irish names.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Holden McGroin.
Holden McGroin. There are so many fake names you could pull off of The Simpsons. You know, just look up, Bart calling the bar.
Yes.
And just pick one of those names to make it, and then you could pick any fun address you can remember. Like mine would be 1313 Mockingbird Lane because that's one of my favorites from the I think it's the Munsters.
Yeah.
And then of course a fake number and 8675309.
That's right. Yep. And of course you could say like The Simpsons. It's like, hey, is Amanda there? Last name Hug and Kiss.
Amanda Hug and Kiss. Is Amanda Hug and Kiss here?
Amanda Hug and
I need
Kiss.
Amanda Hug and Kiss. Dang it, Bart!
That's right.
Just get off my phone. I'm going to find you one day.
All right, 314-912-1019. This is 1019-941 News Talk STL.
Moving forward, using all my breath. Making love to you was never second best. I saw the world crashing all around your face. Never really knowing it was always mesh and lace. I'll stop the world and melt with you.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Investment advisory services offered through OWLFI LLC, a SEC registered investment advisor. Insurance and education services offered through Serenity Wealth Management.
Are you or someone you know providing or managing care for a loved one today? Did you know there could be more cost-efficient solutions for funding long-term care, even those currently living in a skilled care facility today? Financial strategist and long-term care specialist Chris Cooper of Serenity Wealth Management can show you tax-efficient strategies available to help your family manage care concerns. Whether planning for the future or managing care for a loved one today, solutions exist to provide the financial peace of mind you deserve.
Hi, I'm Chris Cooper, and I'd love to send you a free copy of my new book, A CPA's Guide to Tax-Free Strategies for Long-Term Care. You'll learn about strategies to empower you and your family, protect your savings, and make sure your loved ones get the quality of care they deserve.
Request your free copy of Chris's book by visiting SerenityLTC.com. That's SerenityLTC.com.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
So how's the Freedom Caucus doing? Are they kicking some rhino ass down there in Jefferson City? We'll find out from Senator Nick Schroer Tuesday morning at 9:05.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
I answered the call. Together, we fought for our nation and its people. And even though I no longer wear the uniform, I am still a Marine. My service has come full circle. I will continue to support my country and my community. Then and now, Semper Fidelis remains my promise. Always faithful, always Marine.
Hello, morning people. Tony Colombo and Katie Fitzpatrick here.
Thanks for listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning here on News Talk STL. And don't forget to join us today at 2 for Colombo and Katie.
See you then.
Well, I tried to make it Sunday.
I'm not going to have a second cup of coffee. I'm already worked up over it. I mean, I'm still, if I'm lying, I'm dying. I told you early on before the show. What did I warn you?
You were in kind of a funky mood.
I'm kind of in a weird mood.
Mm-hmm.
And some stuff just really got me fired up today.
Okay.
Just got me mad.
Yeah, well, that whole squatter situation, that gets me too.
Okay, what are some of the things that just, like, there are shows and videos I just can't allow myself to watch because they make me so mad.
Oh, gosh.
You know what one you're thinking?
Yeah.
The squatter thing. Amy from Facebook said, I would just get a bulldozer.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that'd be the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Little bobcat.
Actually, that would be a great excuse to rent one of those little end loader deals. I'd always wanted to drive one of those anyway. So I was just like, I would literally have fun while doing that.
My next door neighbor owns a business that deals in those.
Oh,
Let me know.
heck yeah.
You can come over because we're going to do stuff with the yard. You can help me do it. You can
that
drive.
would be so cool.
Yep. Okay, so like, what are some of those videos? Like, for instance, the squatter ones make me so mad because it's such an injustice.
Yes.
And I feel so strongly about property rights that when I see those stories about squatters, it makes me furious.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It doesn't affect me personally, but I just can't stand those stories because it makes me so mad.
There are a number of the Karen ones.
Yeah, same.
That just get my blood boiling. There's some of them that I just, look at this crazy lady going nuts. But there are some where I imagine myself in the situation with this person, and my blood is boiling. Like, I'm like, how do you refrain from resorting to violence? Essentially, it's like I would have trouble.
A couple weeks ago, I actually told my wife the same thing. I said I can't watch those Karen videos, like on the reels and stuff.
Oh,
like
you're just scrolling through and
I'll get stuck in
and
the
a wild
time
Karen
suck.
appears. It's like, oh no.
Where the first couple times you're like, oh, what a crazy person, and
right?
All that kind of stuff. After a little bit, if I see it's a Karen video, I'm like, no. And by the way, if your name is actually Karen, I feel so bad for you.
By the way, one of my really, really good friends, and she actually lives in the home that's our escape when it hits the fan.
Yeah.
Her name is Karen. She's great. She's a great person.
As for some reason,
I love
Karen
you,
got
Karen.
associated. I don't know if your name is Karen. Life sucks for you.
Right now. Yes,
it's
and
like
I'm
for
sorry.
blondes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's
for
right.
a while there, the blonde jokes were good. Yeah. So yeah, if you were blonde, it was a big deal. Yeah.
But yeah, that's the same thing. I can't watch those videos because they make me angry.
Yeah. And now this whole situation with these squatters in front of the house,
so
and
mad.
it just reminds me of my time as a landlord, and that's one of the things. It's like, there were so many things I wanted to do that were technically illegal to the people who were staying in my house, and that was, I was worried mostly about making sure that I had my my ability to continue to be a landlord. Because if the city decides, hey, I didn't like the way you handled this situation, we're not going to give you a permit to have people in your house, I'm screwed.
So you were the one who invested in the property and gave people access to low and medium income housing.
Yes.
You're the one that took
that was me. I was trying to improve Ferguson. Literally, it was Ferguson.
Are you still a landlord? Do you still offer that?
Oh heck no.
Why is that?
Oh, I hate it. I hate what the city did, the city and the county, frankly, to me as a landlord. While I'm trying to do things, while I'm trying to improve these neighborhoods, I'm trying to provide housing for people. I'm trying to be a good person, essentially. I'm even working with people who are having trouble. It's like, oh, you know what? Let me work. No, all of that effort, all of that goodwill that I was trying to put out into the world was rewarded with consternation and a money suck that drained the life out of me while it drained my bank account.
Yeah. So there's less incentive to go in and solve problems on the private sector when the government steps in the way. By the way, Righty has a great point regarding the so-called squatters there at Chippewa and Spring. And Righty says they missed a snowplow opportunity last week. I didn't even think about that, Righty. You are so right about that.
And with the Simpsons running in my head at the same time, I'm thinking of Mr. Plow.
There you go.
That name again is Mr. Plow.
And Vic Porcelli coming your way here in about 6 minutes on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
Well, perhaps my work here is done. Perhaps it's time that I moved on to a place where there's stuff to do. Stuff to do.
This week on News Talk STL.
Texas Governor Abbott writing on social media that he will, quote, hold the line.
It's a powder keg. The tens of thousands of people that were declared a national security risk that came across our border.
Representative Bush is related to allegations of improperly spending federal security money.
The Federal Election Commission and the House Committee on Ethics are currently reviewing the matter.
News, analysis, and opinion.
3 Americans killed in a drone attack.
Why are our troops there if they can't defend themselves? 101.9 and 94.1.
I want to thank everybody.
News Talk STL.
My friend, death is